lights. Let the room around you soften. Your breath steadies once, twice, and then, quite suddenly, you are elsewhere. You wake up not in your own bed, but on a narrow straw mattress that sighs beneath you. The air feels different here, damp with life, heavy with the scent of baked clay and olive oil smoke. A single shutter trembles against the dawn. Somewhere below, someone argues over the price of fish. You are in Rome. The good news: the city is very much alive. The bad news: so is everyone else. It's early morning, perhaps the 6th hour after midnight. That pale, indecisive light between night and the day's roar. The warmth from yesterday's sun still lingers in the walls. The plaster breathes out the faint sweetness of lime and dust. From below your window, a soundscape of waking Rome. A mule snorts, shaking its harness. Wooden wheels drag across cobblestones. A woman calls out, her voice bright and sharp, hawking honey cakes still steaming from their tray. There's laughter somewhere. A quick, silver note, swallowed by the endless murmur of traders, buyers, and slaves. You smell it all. Fish and figs and the smoke of last night's lamp oil. A tang of sweat and early bread. The faint brine that drifts in from the Tiber. And then, underneath it, the steady sigh of water. The public baths just beyond the street have already begun to fill their basins, and the whisper of it seeps through the cracks in the walls. Your blanket, rough wool, faintly greasy from lanolin, clings to your skin. You shift, and dust motes scatter like gold. Somewhere upstairs, a child coughs. Somewhere downstairs, a door slams. And so begins your Roman morning. You live, for now, in an insula, a Roman apartment block, tall, narrow, and always one tremor away from collapse. The plaster is cracked, the stairs uneven, the neighbors unbothered. You can smell every floor through the walls. Below, the baker's oven roars long before the sun. Above, a family of 6 shares 2 rooms and a shared jar of olives. The sound carries up and down the stairwell. Footsteps, pots, murmurs, laughter. Sometimes the metallic splash of someone emptying a chamber pot too quickly. You sit up. The rush mat beneath your feet feels cool, and the floor tiles bear the faint pattern of wear from hundreds of other stalls before yours. There's no privacy here, but also no silence. Only a kind of human hum, constant and oddly comforting. You run your hand along the wall. The plaster flakes, smooth at first, then gritty. Someone once painted it with a scene of vines and doves, now half erased by years of smoke. Outside, the alley between Insulae is so narrow you could reach out and touch your neighbor's laundry. Linen wool. The odd tunic dyed a hopeful shade of red. Above it all, the light of morning begins to climb, painting the walls a soft ochre. A woman passes by below, calling out, "Fructus novae, figs from Campania." Her voice echoes like a bell through the canyon of the street. You lean on the sill and breathe. It smells of wet earth and smoke, of too many lives pressed too close together. And yet, there's something gentle in it. The city's first sigh before it begins to shout. And it's still only morning. Your body wants water, to drink, to wash, to remember it's alive. But in this insula, there is no private fountain, no graceful marble basin. You'll have to carry it, like everyone else, from the nearest public spout or cistern. So you take a clay jug, cool and rough under your palm, and make your way down the spiral stairs. The building's coarse smells of wet wood and ashes. Someone's cat watches you pass, tail flicking, half asleep. At the entrance, the light slices through in gold ribbons. You step into the street. Immediately, warmth. The stones underfoot still carry yesterday's heat. Steam rises faintly from the paving, carrying the ghost of wine spilled the night before. You can hear the baths again. Closer now. The rhythmic slap of water against marble, laughter, conversation muffled by steam. The aqueduct has already begun its work. Clear water tumbles into bronze spouts shaped like lion heads. Its sound bright and clean against the city's low murmur. You fill your jug, watching bubbles rise. The water smells faintly of limestone, cold and mineral-rich. Someone beside you, an older man with one sandal mended by twine, nods good morning. You nod back, wordless. It's too early for talk. The jug grows heavy quickly. Its cool weight pulls at your arm as you climb back up the stairs. Drops of it trail behind you, darkening the dust. You pour some into a shallow basin, dip your hands, and let the cold shock wake you properly. The world sharpens. You are here in Rome, in an insula, in the still young hour before the market's full cry. And yet you can already feel it, the slow, sun-warmed heartbeat of the city building toward its daily roar. You don't expect much from breakfast. Nobody here does. A crust of bread, yesterday's olive, perhaps a bit of cheese if fortune smiles. The Romans don't feast at dawn. They nibble, they sip, they move on. You tear off a piece of bread. The crust crackles faintly, and the inside smells of barley and smoke. You dip it into a cup of watered wine, sour and thin the way it's meant to be, and it softens just enough to chew. Outside, the voices rise again. Someone's laughing at a joke you can't hear. A mule brays. A coppersmith begins hammering in the distance. Slow, deliberate strikes, the heartbeat of craft. You chew. You listen. You exist in this delicate rhythm of heat, sound, and dust. There's a small altar by the wall, a household shrine, painted in fading reds and yellows. You light a pinch of incense for the Laras, the household spirits. The smoke curls lazily upward, smelling faintly of pine and old resin. It's not devotion so much as routine, the quiet maintenance of luck. You whisper a greeting to them, almost politely. Then you sit for a while longer, watching light creep across the wall. Your neighbor's voice floats through the plaster. She's scolding her son, the words half lost but the tone unmistakable. He laughs, unrepentant. The scent of cooking oil drifts up from below. Someone's frying chickpeas, maybe a little garlic. And it's still only morning. If you listen closely, you can tell who's who by the sounds. The widow 2 doors down, her sandals scrape softly, never quite lifting from the floor. The baker's apprentice, always humming, off-key, before dawn. The cloth dyer, heavy footsteps, the faint tang of purple dye clinging to every surface he owns. Across the hall, an old man clears his throat like a trumpet every morning at the same hour. He's a retired soldier, though no one is sure from which legion. He spends his days sharpening a dull knife and talking to a bird that doesn't exist. You nod to him when you pass on the stairs. He grins, toothless, cheerful. The Insula is a city within the city, every floor a new world. On the ground, the tradesmen and shopkeepers. Above them, clerks, scribes, perhaps a foreign merchant or two. Higher still, the poor, the ones who live beneath leaking roofs and creaking beams, but with better views of the sky. You, somewhere in between, occupy the middle, neither rich nor desperate, which in Rome is the rarest luxury of all. From your window, you see a group of boys tossing a leather ball in the alley. They shout in Latin, Greek, something else, half play, half chaos. One misses and the ball rolls into a puddle. Laughter erupts. The city stretches above them in terracotta and smoke, the sun now bright enough to set the rooftops glowing. Someone below begins singing, a soft tune about the harvest. Her voice is low, roughened by years and smoke, but warm. It drifts upward, carrying bits of melody between the walls. And for a moment the whole insula hums with life, imperfect, unwashed, but utterly human. And still, the day hasn't even reached noon. By now, the sounds of the forum spill into every street. The rhythmic chant of vendors, the bray of animals, the metallic ring of coins. Even here, in your narrow lane, it's impossible not to feel the current of it. You step outside again, curious, your sandals catching the grit of the stones. The air has warmed. It presses against your skin like a hand. Stalls line the nearby square. Baskets of dates, pyramids of olives slick with oil, bright heaps of garum jars that smell of the sea and sun. A young man balances a tray of flatbreads, calling out prices. A woman with strong arms chops herbs into a bowl of cheese. A centurion passes by, his armor dulled from use, the sun catching on the curve of his helm. Children follow him briefly, then scatter when he glances back. You move through it slowly, not to buy, but to see, to breathe in what the day offers. A fig seller presses a sample into your hand. Soft, sun-warm, honey-sweet. You bite. Tastes like memory. A boy runs past, clutching a loaf. Someone shouts after him, half anger, half amusement. You find a patch of shade and watch the market swirl. Voices weaving like threads. Laughter tumbling over argument. A whole city breathing in and out around you. It's loud, yes, but not harsh. Every sound carries purpose. You close your eyes and let it wash through you, the pulse of the empire in miniature. And when you open them again, the still morning, the sun climbs until the streets begin to shimmer. You feel it before you see it, that gentle suffocation, that slow bloom of heat that settles into everything. The air itself seems to thicken, scented with dust, olives, and the faint sweetness of crushed figs drying on a tray below your window. The walls of the Insula hold their breath. Even the pigeons grow quiet, wings half spread on the ledge. You pull the shutter wider, but the breeze that enters is like breath from a sleeping furnace, warm, dry, without mercy. Below, a cart creaks by, wheels squealing against stone. Someone calls for shadecloth to be raised over their stall. A woman laughs, short and bright, and then the street stills again. It's the hour when Rome starts to fade at the edges, as if drawn in chalk and left too long under the sun. The world moves slower, softer. Even hunger forgets its urgency. You take your towel, your small flask of oil, and decide to go where the sound of water has been whispering all morning. The way to the baths is not far. A narrow street that smells of wet clay, baked bread, and the faint metallic tang of coins. At its end, arches rise like open mouths, the marble pale against the sky. You pass under them and everything changes. The world outside dissolves into steam and echoes. Voices soften. The splash of water replaces the cry of merchants. Light drifts down from a high oculus, shimmering through the mist until it touches the marble floor in trembling circles. You breathe in. The air smells of cedar, soap, and warmth. Men speak quietly here, as if the walls themselves listen. The baths are not only for washing. They are where gossip and calm coexist. You undress in silence, leaving your tunic folded on a stone bench still warm from another body. The air moves across your skin like silk pulled through warm water. You begin, as all do in the tepidarium, the warm chamber. It greets you gently, the heat not fierce but patient. The stone floor beneath your feet hums with life. Tiny droplets cling to your arms. Someone hums an old tune. Another laughs softly, his words lost in the steam. It feels almost sacred, though no priest stands here, only men exhaling their fatigue into a room that welcomes it. When the warmth becomes too familiar, you pass into the caldarium. The heat there is a presence. It wraps you, presses you, reminds you that the body is made of both water and stubbornness. You sit on a ledge slick with moisture and close your eyes. There is a dripping sound, constant and steady, like time itself made audible. Around you, the marble glows faintly, alive with light that filters through the steam. Someone nearby whispers about the emperor's new building projects. Someone else chuckles and murmurs a prayer to Fortuna, hoping the roof holds. You smile without opening your eyes. In Rome, even gossip sounds like devotion. When your breath grows too slow, you rise, your skin flushed and shining, and move through another arch. The next room strikes like cold metal. The frigidarium, the cold bath, holds its water like a secret. You lower yourself into it, inch by inch, until the chill bites every nerve awake. The shock travels through you, sharp and delicious. For a moment, there's nothing but silence. Your heart finds its rhythm again. When you surface, drops cling to your lashes. The world feels clearer, edges newly cut. The heat of the day waits outside, but you're not ready for it yet. You linger. A boy approaches, carrying a small jar of olive oil and a bronze strigil, the curved scraper every Roman knows by feel. He pours a line of oil across your shoulders. It smells faintly of thyme and laurel. Then he begins, methodical and calm, scraping the blade gently along your skin. Oil, sweat, and dust fall away, leaving only the freshness beneath. It's not indulgence, it's a kind of renewal. Each stroke erases a little of the city's weight. When he finishes, he nods and hands you a towel. You wrap yourself in it, feeling the fabric rough but clean against your skin. He offers a small cup of wine, thin, warm, ordinary, and you sip it slowly. Around you, conversation ripples. Someone jokes about the senator who fainted in the steam room last week. Someone else argues quietly about poetry. A man sings low and tuneless, yet somehow fitting. You close your eyes again, listening. The sound of the baths is unlike any other. A heartbeat made of water, laughter, and marble. When you step back into the street, your hair still damp. The sun has shifted. The air outside hits like an embrace from a god who never learned moderation. You walk slowly. Your shadow pools beneath your feet, short and dark. Rome hums again, the sleepy lull broken. The market song returns, fainter now, but insistent. You follow it. The shops along the street glow in the light. Tiny, open-fronted caves of trade and talk. A cobbler hunches over a sandal, thread between his teeth. A perfumer crushes petals with a pestle the color of old honey. A young woman sells small clay lamps shaped like fish, moons, and laughing faces. Her hands are powdered with dust from the molds. You pause. She looks up, her eyes soft with the slowness of heat. You buy one, and she wraps it in linen with the care of someone sealing a promise. Feels cool in your palm, light but solid. You walk on. The sound of hammers rises from a forge, that clean, ringing rhythm that never quite leaves the city. Sparks leap, die, leap again. A man at the bellows hums under his breath. His apprentice wipes sweat from his brow and grins when he catches your glance, proud of his labor. Everywhere, movement. Everywhere, life pretending not to hurry. And above all of it, the sun, vast and indifferent. By now, the air tastes of metal and sleep. The streets have emptied a little. Curtains drawn across doorways, voices dimmed. Rome, for an hour, gives itself permission to rest. You find shade beneath an archway, where the stones still breathe coolness from dawn. The quiet here feels earned. A flute plays somewhere, faint, like memory. A jar cools and clicks as it contracts. Dust swirls lazily through a single shaft of light, each particle turning like a thought too slow to finish. You close your eyes. The wall behind you hums softly with trapped warmth. In this moment, Rome forgets itself, the noise, the labor, the endless appetite. It becomes a city of sleeping lions, all breath and no roar. You could fall asleep right here, the sound of the world held at arm's length. For a long minute, nothing moves. Then, from a distant street, a voice calls out. A merchant, breaking the spell. Another answers. The hum of the city stirs again, first in whispers, then in laughter, then in the clatter of sandals and carts. The day exhales. You rise, stretch, and feel the sunlight return to your skin like an old friend. The clay lamp in your hand catches the light. The little fish carved into it seems to swim in gold. You turn it once, twice, before slipping it into your bag. The air smells of wine now, and roasted grain and far-off figs. Somewhere, a baker begins to stoke his oven for the evening loaves. You walk back toward the Insula, the street humming softly around you. The sky above has begun to pale toward amber, and though the day has carried you through heat, water, and stillness, you can feel that it isn't finished yet, because in Rome, the real life begins only after the sun begins to fall, and it's still only midday. The light begins to change. You notice it first in the color of the walls, the pale stone turning to honey, then to amber, then to a deep, breathing red. The sun lowers slowly, sliding down the narrow canyon of the street, its warmth softening into something tender. You lean out of the window again. The air tastes different now, richer, heavier. The smell of oil and baked grain has turned to that of cooked garlic and roasted meat. Someone is frying onions in a clay pan. Someone else is pouring wine into a jug and laughing as it spills. From a nearby balcony, linen sheets flap lazily, catching the last light. Dust glows in the air like golden snow. The voices in the alley are no longer hurried. They linger. It's the hour between labor and comfort, when every Roman lets their shoulders drop and finally admits that they are tired. You hear sandals scraping stone. A woman calls to her neighbor from across the street. A brief conversation about lentils, about the weather, about nothing that will survive the night. You smile. It feels safe here, wrapped in the hum of a city that still believes tomorrow will come. And though the air cools only slightly, you breathe easier. The market begins to close, but it never truly stops. Vendors pack their goods into baskets. Figs bruised but still sweet, bread that will be half price by dawn. The scent of hot oil lingers in the square, a perfume of salt and cumin. You walk through it slowly, the stones beneath your sandals warm from the day. A potter wipes his hands and nods to you as he extinguishes his lamp. A boy chases a goose between stalls, laughing until the goose wins. Somewhere nearby, someone plucks a string instrument, its notes rising like moths in the fading light. The world seems to exhale, as if all of Rome has taken one long breath and finally let it go. You stop at a tavern, a small one, built into the ground floor of another insula. Its open doorway glows with lamplight. The air inside smells of wine, vinegar, and smoke. You find a place at a rough wooden counter. The innkeeper greets you without a word, already pouring. His hands are stained with grape juice. His eyes are the color of the amphory behind him. He slides a cup toward you. Cheap pottery, chipped at the rim, the wine within thin but honest. You take a sip. It tastes of the hillside and the road and a little of clay. There is bread here, too dark-crusted, soft within. You break it, dip it into a dish of olive oil laced with herbs. The oil pools golden in the lamplight, carrying the scent of rosemary and thyme itself. A man beside you tells a story you half understand, about a ship that went missing and a god that didn't care. Another hums. A third snores softly against the counter, his head pillowed on folded arms. You eat, you listen, you exist. Outside, the last of the sunlight slips away. When you leave, the street is darker, yet warmer in spirit. Lamps burn in doorways, small fires in clay mouths, their light flickering over the stones. Shadows stretch long and thin, crossing one another like threads in a tapestry. You walk slowly. The sounds of evening are different. Laughter softer, footsteps slower, a flute echoing somewhere distant. Above, windows glow like stars. Below, cats slink between doorways, pausing to study you with unhurried suspicion. At the corner, A man sells roasted nuts from a small brazier. The smell draws you in. You buy a handful, they're hot, salty, the kind that warm your fingers even as the air cools. You eat them one by one, the shells crackling softly. Each bite feels like the echo of daylight. And then, as you pass under a low arch, you hear the faint rush of water again. The baths emptying for the night, or perhaps just the fountain feeding the street. The sound is softer now, more secretive. You follow it without meaning to. The fountain stands in a small courtyard between buildings, half in shadow. Its basin is shallow, its rim worn smooth by decades of hands and thirst. Water trickles from a lion's mouth, slow and steady. You sit beside it. The stone is cool under your fingers. You trace the carved mane of the lion, the tiny cracks filled with moss. The air smells faintly of water, dust, and olive wood burning somewhere far away. You listen. The city has quieted. The market's cry is gone, replaced by the rhythm of the night, sandals, distant talk, the occasional bark of a dog. The wind carries the faint hum of someone singing above you, a lullaby to no one in particular. For a moment, Rome feels like a single creature breathing around you. You lean back, letting your head rest against the stone. The stars above are faint, the air too full of smoke and life for clarity, but you can see them shimmer, trembling above the rooftops. A voice nearby murmurs a prayer. A door creaks shut. A laugh escapes and fades. You close your eyes. You wake not to silence, but to the soft shuffle of people passing home. The city doesn't sleep the way smaller places do. It drifts, half waking, half dreaming. Somewhere, someone always stirs a pot, or counts coins, or whispers to a lover through an open window. You stand and stretch. The air now carries the scent of night, cooler, deeper, full of ash and promise. As you walk back toward your insula, you see shadows move behind thin curtains, hear the clatter of dishes being stacked, the sigh of a woman extinguishing her lamp. At a doorway, a child falls asleep against his mother's knee. She hums, her song half words, half warmth. You climb the stairs slowly, one hand on the wall for balance. The plaster feels rough beneath your fingers, alive, somehow, with the memory of the day. Your room greets you as you left it. Simple, small, still breathing in the heat stored in its walls. You light your new lamp, the one shaped like a fish, and watch its little flame flicker. Its reflection dances along the ceiling, rippling like water. You pour a last cup of watered wine. The liquid glows red in the lamplight. You drink half, then set it down beside the bed. Outside, the alley hums softly, like a lullaby. You lie down. The straw mattress sighs under your weight, familiar and forgiving. From somewhere below comes a faint whisper of laughter. From above, a footstep. From the baths beyond the walls, the last distant trickle of draining water. Rome never stops breathing. It only changes rhythm. And as you drift toward sleep, you think of the day, the heat, the scent of thyme oil, the cool slap of the frigidarium, the crack of bread, the sound of voices through the plaster. None of it extraordinary, all of it real. You smile to yourself. Somehow, even across centuries, it feels like home. And it's still only evening. The night rises slowly, like ink poured into water. You feel it before you see it. The shift in the air, the faint chill that drifts through the open window and carries with it the scent of smoke and damp stone. The day's noise has thinned to a whisper. The last merchants have closed their shutters. Their wooden bars thud into place one by one, like a heartbeat slowing down. You lie on your side for a moment, half awake, listening. The city has changed voice. The clatter of carts is gone. The talk has softened to murmurs. Even the pigeons seem to sleep. Only the faint, rhythmic drip of a leaky pipe somewhere beyond the wall keeps time. You rise again, restless but calm, wrapping a thin wool shawl around your shoulders. The fabric smells faintly of oil and warmth. You move to the window and lean on the sill. The alley below has turned into a tunnel of shadow, interrupted only by small circles of lamplight spilling from doorways. Someone walks by with a torch, its flame small but alive, leaving a trail of gold dust in the air. You can hear footsteps on distant paving stones, the bark of a dog answered by another farther off. The stars tonight are faint, but patient. They blink above the rooftops like small, knowing eyes. You count them until you lose track. A smell reaches you, sweet, thick, almost cloying. Burning pine resin. Somewhere nearby, someone tends a fire, though it's far too warm for it. Perhaps a baker preparing for dawn, or a watchman feeding his brazier. You breathe it in, slow and deep. Tastes ancient. You sit down by the window and watch the last of the heat fade from the walls. The plaster seems to drink the night. Above, a woman sings, her voice quiet, her tune older than language. You cannot understand the words, but you recognize the shape of them. It's a song about the sea, you think, and about missing someone. Her voice threads through the silence, and for a moment, the whole building listens. Time passes differently now. The streets belong to fewer people. The guards in leather armor walking their rounds, the shadowed figures of those who sell dreams, the slaves running late errands for unseen masters. Rome's face at night is another city entirely. Slower, more secret, softer. A cat leaps onto your windowsill, startling you for an instant. It stares, unbothered, eyes bright as bronze coins. You whisper hello, and it blinks, unimpressed, before slipping away into the dark again. You pour a little wine into your cup and sip. It's warm now, sour at the edges, but it does what wine has always done. It softens the border between thought and dream. Your eyelids grow heavier, but still you watch. From your window you can see, far off, the faint red glow where the forum lies, the fires of the night watch, the small temples that never truly sleep. The empire has its lungs there, and they keep breathing even now. You wonder about the people still awake in those distant chambers, the scribes with their ink-stained fingers, the guards leaning on spears, the lovers whispering under colonnades. You wonder if they, too, are thinking of the sky, of the scent of burning resin, of nothing at all. A sudden gust of wind slips through the window. It carries with it the smell of wet clay and smoke from a dozen lamps going out. Somewhere, a door closes, and the sound echoes longer than it should. You draw the shawl closer and lie back on the bed. The straw shifts beneath you, a small, comforting crackle. The city hums faintly, not awake, not asleep, only resting. You can feel its pulse through the walls, through the floor, through the air itself. A whisper from upstairs. Maybe two lovers arguing softly. A laugh, a sigh, the hush that follows. You stare at the ceiling. The flame of your little fish-shaped lamp flickers, casting a slow wave of light that swims across the plaster. You watch it move until it steadies. You think of water again, of the baths, the sound of it echoing through marble, the moment before stepping in. Rome is full of water, you realize, even when the streets are dry. Fountains, basins, cisterns, rivers of voices. It flows beneath everything, like memory. The lamp trembles. The wick bends low. You reach out and steady it with a fingertip, then withdraw your hand, leaving it to its gentle dance. Somewhere outside, a bell rings once, twice, the night watch marking the hour. You exhale slowly. The bed creaks. Your eyes drift closed, then open again, just enough to see the ceiling ripple with light. It feels safe here, suspended between centuries, between breaths, between lives. You think about how the city will wake again soon, how the carts will return, the shouts, the smells, the endless hum of existence. But not yet, not tonight. For now it belongs to you, this quiet, flickering moment at the edge of time. The lamp finally gutters out. Darkness folds around you like a second blanket. You listen for the last sound, the faint hiss of distant water, the eternal heartbeat of the baths, and let it carry you away. Somewhere, in the dark, a rooster stirs. Tomorrow is already waiting, and still, somehow, the night feels endless. The first light does not arrive all at once. It seeps, like milk poured into ink, pale and uncertain at first, stretching itself carefully along the edges of the rooftops. You feel it before you see it, that slow loosening of the dark. The air in your room changes, cooler, lighter, the scent of night smoke replaced by something faintly green, the ghost of damp stone and morning bread. You stir. The straw rustles softly beneath you, whispering its dry morning greeting. For a moment you don't move. You listen. Rome again is preparing to wake. From somewhere below, a hinge creaks, and a woman's voice, low, worn from years of shouting, calls out to someone unseen. A door slides open. A broom begins its daily scrape against the cobblestones. The first cart rattles down the alley, the mule's hooves uneven on the stones. Then another, then another. The rhythm of the day reassembles itself like a song you already know but haven't heard for a long while. You open your eyes fully. The window still shows a thin thread of dawn, faint pinks and yellows woven through the smoke of early fires. The city smells like bread again, warm, yeasty, almost sweet. Someone has already stoked their oven below you. The scent wraps around everything, mixing with the lingering musk of oil and clay. You rise, rubbing your arms against the morning chill. The floor is cold beneath your feet, and the air feels like it carries a hint of the Tiber, wet, metallic, steady. You light your little lamp again, though it hardly seems necessary. Its flame wavers, then steadies, its fish-shaped shadow dancing lazily across the wall. Outside, voices multiply. Vendors arguing, children laughing, wheels clattering. A soundscape that feels eternal. Every note already rehearsed, yet somehow new each time. You smile to yourself. Rome is awake again. You step to the window and rest your elbows on the sill. Below, the baker pulls steaming loaves from his oven. Their crusts are golden, cracked like old marble. Steam curls upward, carrying the scent of salt and heat. A young boy runs errands with a basket in his hands, shouting something about figs, though you doubt he's been to the market yet. Across the alley, shutters creak open. Someone throws water down to wash the dust away. It splashes, runs down the stones, catching the new sunlight in thin silver lines. The warmth returns, inch by inch, and with it the sound of laughter, soft, scattered, human. You drink it in as though it were wine. You sit down again, breaking the last piece of bread left from yesterday. The crust has gone hard, but the flavor still carries the warmth of the hearth. You dip it into a bowl of watered wine, breakfast for those who need nothing more. The taste is sour and familiar. As you chew, you think about all that you've seen. The morning markets, the baths, the slow blaze of midday, the hush of night. All of it stitched together by water and dust, by footsteps and steam, by the smell of oil on skin. You look around your small room. The walls are marked by smoke, the plaster cracked, the air already thickening with warmth. Yet it feels right, solid, honest, alive. The city outside hums, steady and tireless. Somewhere a cockerel crows, though late to his duty. The sun reaches the rim of the window, touches your hands, and fills the room with a soft, forgiving gold. You close your eyes and breathe. The air tastes of beginnings. Down below, the fountain begins to sing again. The same one that lulled you to sleep, that whispered through the dark, now sparkles with new water, fresh from the aqueduct. The sound fills the alley like a promise. You could leave now, join the street, walk to the baths again, buy figs from the same woman, greet the same faces. Or you could stay. Stay and listen. Stay and let the city unfold without needing to touch it. You lean back against the wall, feeling the plaster's coolness through your tunic. The warmth from the window creeps slowly across your legs. The morning moves on without hurry. Peddler's call rises, fades. A broom stops sweeping. A laugh echoes, answered from above. You watch the dust drift in the sunlight, turning circles in the quiet. You think, not for the first time, that this simple rhythm might be enough. Not empire, not glory, not conquest. Just this air, bread, sound, sleep. Your eyes grow heavy again. The city outside is bright now, yet somehow softer than before, blurred by the comfort of repetition. You lie back once more. Let the world continue without you for a little while longer. The faint warmth of the sun presses against your eyelids, and you drift somewhere between the hum of morning and the echo of dreams. Rome keeps moving. You keep breathing. The fountain keeps singing. And the day begins again. And still, somehow, it feels like it never truly ended. The city stretches awake. The light is full now, unflinching, pouring through your window and painting the air in soft gold dust. The hum of morning has grown into a chorus. Sandals scuffing, traders calling, the laughter of someone who has found their first sale of the day. You sit up slowly, feeling the room breathe with you. The warmth presses gently against your skin, a reminder that the night is truly gone. The smell of baking bread has thickened. It curls into every crack of the plaster, mingling with the sharper notes of olive oil and smoke from the baker's hearth below. A new day, yes, but not a different one. Rome doesn't change in its rhythm. It deepens. Each dawn feels as if it has been rehearsed for 1,000 years. The city remembers itself. You rise, stretch, and wash your face with the last of the cool water from your jug. It has gone still overnight, and the chill shocks you awake. The clay of the jug smells faintly of earth and river. You pour a few drops onto your hands, run them through your hair. The sensation is both brisk and grounding. A simple ritual, unchanged across centuries. Outside, the voices thicken. The cries of sellers from the main street carry all the way up the alley. You can hear the word panis called again and again. Bread. Always bread. The heartbeat of the city. You take what's left of your coin pouch and step into the hallway. The air there smells of dust and humanity, lived in and layered. A door opens somewhere. The old man with the imaginary bird is already awake, muttering softly to it about the weather. You nod to him as you pass. He smiles, revealing the gap where a tooth used to be. The stairs creak. Someone above you drops something metal, curses in Greek. Another voice, young, impatient, answers back in Latin. Life returning. You step out into the street and blink. The sunlight reflects off the wet cobblestones where someone has just thrown a bucket of wash water. The sky is pale, washed clean. The smell, bread, figs, sweat, clay, all of it familiar, all of it real. The baker sees you coming and nods. He's a large man, his tunic powdered with flour, his arms browned by fire. Without asking, he hands you a small round loaf, still hot enough to sting your palm. You hand him 2 small coins. He nods again, no words needed. You tear the bread open and breathe in. Steam rises. The crust flakes under your thumb. The scent is warm and faintly sour. You take a bite, the simplest meal in the world, and somehow perfect. Children run past you chasing a stick. One slips, laughs, gets up again. A woman sets out baskets of olives in the doorway of a shop, their skins gleaming in the sun. A man with a cart full of wine jugs calls for help as one begins to tilt. and 3 others rush to steady it. They curse, then laugh, then keep walking. Everywhere motion, everywhere the small machinery of living. You wander without aim, letting the city lead. The sound of the Tiber reaches you first. The low, constant rush, half water, half wind. You follow it until you stand on the bank, where the air is cooler, the light softer. The river glides beneath the bridge, wide and indifferent. Its surface catches the sun like a sheet of bronze. You lean on the stone wall and watch as a fisherman casts his net. He works in silence, patient, his movements slow and deliberate. Each throw looks the same, yet carries the quiet hope of difference. The water smells faintly of silt and time. You could stay here for hours, and maybe you do. Time in Rome doesn't always move in straight lines. It circles, it folds, it breathes. The fisherman hauls in his net. It glistens, heavy with silver flashes. He nods at you just once, a small acknowledgement that you exist in the same morning. A boy nearby sells cups of watered wine. You buy one, though you don't really need it. The wine is thin but cold. It tastes of clay and sun. You sip slowly, watching light dance on the river's surface. A breeze passes, carrying the smell of time from a nearby stall. Somewhere, a cockerel crows again. Late, defiant, cheerful. You laugh quietly. The fisherman hums a song you almost recognize, something that might have been old even when the city was young. Behind you, the market's noise swells again. Carts rumbling, voices rising. The city is fully awake now, stretching its limbs. You take another sip, finish the cup, and wipe your hands on your tunic. The river keeps moving. You turn back toward the Insula, toward the narrow stair, the cracked plaster, the little lamp waiting on your table. The streets glow now, every surface bright, alive. The smell of the baths has returned too, hot stone, wet steam, oil. Soon the sound of splashing will rise again, and voices will echo through marble. The thought makes you smile. You walk slowly. There is no need to hurry. The day, like all Roman days, will be long. At the doorway of your building, a child sits peeling an apple with clumsy fingers. He looks up and grins. You nod, stepping past him into the cool stairwell. The air inside is thick, but calm. It smells of yesterday's oil and something faintly floral. Someone must have lit incense upstairs. You climb. Each step creaks a familiar note. When you reach your room, the light has moved again. It slides across the floor, touching your lamp, your jug, the edge of the bed. You set down what's left of the bread, drink the last mouthful of wine, and sit. From outside comes the sound of a woman singing to her baby, soft, wordless. A broom brushes the stones. The city hums unending. You close your eyes. The air is warm, filled with life and memory. The day ahead stretches like a thread, ordinary, golden, endless. You breathe in, breathe out. Somewhere, a bell rings for the first meeting of the morning. You smile, already knowing what it means. Another Roman day has begun, and you quietly are part of it. And still, somehow, it feels like the same day, folded back into itself, as if time here never ends, only exhales. The sun climbs higher. The warmth that touches your skin now is steady, patient, the kind of light that asks nothing, only gives. It seeps into the walls, into the wooden beams, into the clay jar by your bed. The air hums faintly, alive with distant footsteps and the murmur of 10,000 lives beginning their daily loops. You open the window again. The city beyond your sill is the same, yet never the same. The laundry still flaps between buildings, pale sheets moving like slow wings. The fountain still murmurs below. The baker still calls out his prices, voice softened by routine. But the light is new. The air is new. And so, somehow, are you. A swallow dives across the alley, slicing through the brightness. Its cry is sharp and joyful, the kind that cuts the silence into ribbons. You watch it disappear beyond the rooftops and think that, perhaps, every morning deserves its own witness. Your stomach reminds you that time exists. You tear another piece from the bread, now cooled and stiff, and eat it slowly, as though it were something precious. The taste is plain, but full of the world: fire, grain, salt, hands. From below comes the clatter of wooden wheels. A man passes with 2 mules and a cart full of amphorae, their clay necks ringing together softly like hollow bells. The scent of wine and dust rises in his wake. You close your eyes and listen. The city is a tide. Every sound enter dipping, lifting, returning. Footsteps, voices, laughter, the far-off strike of metal on stone. Each carries a rhythm, and together they make something like music. You think of the night before. The darkness breathing through narrow streets, the faint glimmer of lamps, the river whispering secrets under the bridge. It feels both close and centuries away. Rome doesn't divide its days the way you're used to. It folds them, layers them, hides yesterday inside today. You stand, stretch, and decide to walk again, if only to see how the morning reshapes the familiar. The stairwell smells faintly of herbs now. Someone has hung a small bundle of rosemary and bay to keep flies away. A scent brushes your senses as you descend. On the first floor, a woman opens her door and greets you with a nod. She carries a basket of laundry, her arms strong and dusted with flour. You return her smile and step aside so she can pass. Her perfume is simple: olive, soap, and air. Outside, the sunlight has sharpened. Shadows carve the stones into alternating stripes of warmth and cool. Children's voices bounce between the walls, high and bright, like birdsong. A man leading a donkey passes by, the animal's hooves slipping slightly on the uneven paving. The man hums to it, patient. You follow the smell of water again, the one constant in this living maze. It draws you toward the baths, though you have no plan to enter. The closer you get, the cooler the air feels. The entrance stands open, and from inside comes the familiar echo of splashing, laughter, and steam. You pause at the doorway. The marble inside glows faintly, silvered by the sun filtering through the oculus. Someone greets you. A boy, barefoot, carrying towels. He smiles shyly, then hurries past. You don't follow. Instead, you sit on the stone step just outside. The stone is warm beneath you, rough, worn by centuries of other bodies. From here, you can see the street open into a wider square. Stalls are being set up, fruit piled into pyramids, fish displayed on damp reeds, pottery gleaming faintly with fresh glaze. The air is thick with smells: figs, olives, fish brine, smoke. A vendor calls out something about melons from Campania. Another argues about prices with a customer. You sit and watch, the world unfolding as if it's done this forever. A woman nearby is feeding pigeons. They crowd her feet, fluttering, cooing, their wings flickering like thoughts. She hums to them as she tosses crumbs, and they answer her with motion. The sound of laughter rises again, warm and easy. It ripples across the square like water. You close your eyes for a moment and let the sun fall across your face. You imagine it touching every street, every corner, every face. The same light that touched emperors and beggars, the same warmth that will someday touch stones long after both are gone. You breathe deeply. The air is rich with scent and sound and history. When you open your eyes again, the market is in full bloom. The chatter, the shuffle, the glint of coins passing from palm to palm. It all feels alive in a way no monument ever could. Someone nearby drops a basket of apples. They roll across the stones, bright and red. A child darts forward to help gather them. The vendor laughs, thanks her, and offers one as a gift. The girl beams. The simplicity of it, the give and take, feels eternal. A man walks by balancing a tray of honey cakes. Their sweetness perfumes the air. You buy one without thinking. The crust is crisp, the center soft and sticky. You taste honey and smoke and sun. It melts in your mouth, and for a moment, time seems irrelevant. The square swells with life, carts, laughter, small arguments, the dull clang of a hammer shaping metal somewhere nearby. The rhythm is so complete, so absolute, that you stop trying to separate the sounds. They belong together. They always have. You realize you've spent nearly the whole morning doing nothing at all. Watching, listening, breathing, and yet it feels like enough. You rise, dust your hands, and begin to walk back, carrying with you the scent of honey and sun-warmed air. The street leading home is already shaded by awnings. The cloth above you ripples gently in the breeze. Somewhere, water trickles from a hidden spout, steady and sure. The sound follows you, quiet, patient, eternal. You reach your door, touch the wood as you pass through, and feel the faint vibration of the city in your fingertips. Inside, your little room waits exactly as before, the bed, the lamp, the small table. The light through the window is stronger now, filling every corner, pushing the shadows into retreat. You sit again on the edge of the bed, stretch your arms, and breathe. The scent of rosemary from the stairwell still lingers faintly on your tunic. Outside, the day continues. Merchants calling, water running. The heartbeat of a city too vast to ever sleep. You listen, smiling. You think about the hours yet to come. The heat, the baths, the laughter, the cool river breeze at dusk. You think about how everything repeats, yet never the same way twice. And as you lean back against the wall, eyes half closed, you whisper to yourself, the still morning, and Rome is still alive. The day grows older, but the light refuses to hurry. It hangs lazily above the rooftops, spilling into the narrow lanes in wide, golden sheets. The stones underfoot have warmed to the color of honey, and the air feels slow, content to linger between breaths. You sit by the open window again. The scent that rises now is thicker. Cooked grain, warm oil, the faint sweetness of fruit beginning to ferment in the sun. Below, the baker's boy hums to himself as he sweeps the doorway. His broom brushes against the cobbles in gentle, rhythmic strokes, like the slow heartbeat of the city. You rest your arms on the sill, watching life unfold beneath you. A potter wheels a cart of fresh clay, his bare feet gray with dust. A woman balances 2 amphorae of water, her stride measured. Sure, a child runs beside her, carrying a small cup in both hands, as if it were something holy. You smile. The morning has stretched into something softer. A pause before the noon heat presses the city into stillness. Somewhere nearby, a fountain gurgles. The sound glides through the air like breath through a flute. You can almost taste the freshness of it, cold, mineral, clean. The woman with the water disappears into an archway. The child follows, his laughter echoing for a moment before it is swallowed by the hum of other sounds. Sandals scuffing, shutters slamming, a vendor's voice rising, steady and strong. You close your eyes and imagine the Tiber, slow and bright beyond the buildings. The pulse that feeds everything here. You think of its smell, the weight of it in the air. The same water that fills the fountains, that cools the baths, that washes the dust from the day. The breeze shifts. It carries something new. Roasted chickpeas, garlic sizzling, a note of vinegar. You realize that, without meaning to, you've drifted toward hunger again. You rise, stretch, and step out into the stairwell. The wood of the railing is smooth beneath your hand, worn by countless palms. Yours now one more. The lower floors are louder. Someone is singing, the kind of song meant only for work. Wordless, steady, almost like breathing. The smell of food follows it, curling upward like smoke. When you step out into the alley, the light almost blinds you. It spills over everything, faces, walls, carts, turning dust into gold. A vendor has set up a small stand nearby. Clay bowls of lentils and olives sit beside a steaming pot of stew. The smell is deep, earthy, real. You approach, nodding. He greets you without words, ladles a portion into a clay bowl, and hands it over. The stew is thick, rich with barley and herbs. You eat slowly, savoring the warmth that spreads through you with every bite. It's not fine food, but it's honest, the kind that makes you feel grounded, anchored in the moment. You sit on the edge of a low wall, bowl in hand, watching the city move. A boy chases a stray dog, laughing when it dodges him. A woman wipes her forehead with her sleeve and fans herself with a bit of parchment. Two men argue over the price of olives. Voices sharp but never cruel. The heat deepens, but the wind begins to stir. It moves through the alley in sighs, fluttering loose fabric, teasing dust into spirals. You finish your food and set the bowl aside, grateful for its simple comfort. A shadow crosses the wall beside you, a cloud drifting briefly over the sun. The air shifts, cooler for a heartbeat, and every sound seems to hush in that moment. The hammering, the footsteps, even the murmur of the fountain. And then, slowly, the world resumes. You rise, brushing the dust from your tunic, and begin to walk toward the wider street that leads to the baths again. Not to bathe this time, but simply to feel the cool air that spills from their doors, the living breath of marble and water. As you walk, you pass a group of children sitting in a circle, carving shapes into the dirt with bits of broken pottery. They speak in half-whispers, serious, as if deciding the fate of the world. One looks up as you pass and smiles, a small, knowing thing before turning back to his game. The heat blooms around you again, steady and bright. The world glows. Every shadow feels alive, every beam of light humming with warmth. When you reach the steps of the baths, you pause and sit in their shade. The stone behind you still carries the echo of morning heat, but the air that drifts out from within is cool, wet, fragrant with oil and steam. You rest there, eyes half closed. The sound of splashing water and soft voices blend into a rhythm older than thought. Somewhere, a bronze ladle rings against stone. Somewhere, laughter. Somewhere, a sigh of relief. You let it all wash through you. The music of a city that never stops, even when it seems to rest. You think about how many mornings like this have existed, and how many more will. How every dawn in Rome must have felt a little like this. The smell of bread, the hum of water, the promise of heat. The thought is comforting. You realize that the beauty of this place lies not in its grandeur, but in its repetition, in the way it returns, again and again, like breath. You tilt your head back, feeling the light press against your eyelids. The hum of the city wraps around you, warm and endless. You could sleep here, sitting upright in the shade, lulled by water and air. And maybe, for a few moments, you do. You wake to a deeper light, the kind that signals afternoon. The sounds around you have softened again. The fountain still sings. The wind still moves. The city still breathes. And though hours have passed, nothing truly feels different. Because Rome doesn't mark time the way you do. It only exhales slowly, forever. And still, somehow, it feels like the same day. The lamps will soon be lit again. The market will hum. The air will fill with the scent of garlic and smoke. And another dusk will unfold over the same roofs. But for now, you can rest here. Tell me softly, where are you listening from? And how long has this day felt for you? The air begins to tremble again, though not with heat, with sound. A slow tide of voices rises from the streets, washing against the walls of the Insula. The day is turning toward evening. The light softens to amber, sliding through the narrow window in long, liquid ribbons. It glows against the edges of the clay jars, turning the room into a vessel filled with quiet gold. You sit up from where you'd been resting. The air smells of oil and ash and something faintly sweet, dates, perhaps, or wine being warmed for supper. From the floor below comes the dull rhythm of footsteps, the clink of metal bowls, a voice humming tunelessly. The hum spreads. Other voices join. Laughter, the creak of a stool, the bark of a dog. All through the Insula, people are returning home. You rise and open the window again. The light has begun its descent, and the alley below glows in soft, rust-colored haze. A woman leans from her balcony, shaking crumbs from a cloth. Two children race past her door, their sandals slapping against the stone. A man carries a basket of vegetables. The green tips of leeks poke out from beneath the cloth. Somewhere far off, a bell tolls. Slow, heavy, patient. The sound rolls over the rooftops and settles like a sigh. You breathe deeply. The day still clings to your skin. The dust, the faint trace of oil from the baths, the memory of warmth that hasn't yet faded. You run a hand along the rough plaster wall beside you. It feels almost alive, as though it too is exhaling, preparing for the cool that will follow. From a nearby window drifts the smell of lentil stew thickening over a small fire. It mixes with the sharper scent of vinegar, the sweetness of roasted garlic. Somewhere, bread is baking again. The night loaves, smaller, darker, their crusts thicker from the heat. You think of the first bread of morning, and how this smells different, heavier, more certain. The scent of endings. You step out into the hall, where shadows have begun to stretch long and soft. The stairs are warm underfoot. The sound of your own steps echoes upward and fades. When you reach the street, the world is awash in gold. The sun, half hidden by the roofs, flares once more before slipping behind them. The sky burns for a moment, orange, pink, violet, and then cools, as though someone has placed a hand over a flame. The square nearby is still alive with movement. Vendors shout their final offers, voices made hoarse by dust. A man pours the last of his wine into a clay cup for a weary traveler. Children carry home baskets twice their size. You walk slowly, passing a stand where figs sit piled high. Their skins glisten darkly in the fading light. The vendor catches your eye, gestures with a half-smile, and presses one into your hand. You thank him. The fig is warm, almost hot from the sun. When you bite into it, it bursts softly, sweet, earthy, full of summer. The taste anchors you, feels older than words. You walk farther, toward the small courtyard where the fountain stands. The air there is cooler, touched by the water's breath. A group of men sits nearby, dice clattering against a board. They argue softly, their voices edged with humor. An old woman watches from a stool, her hands busy untangling a net. You sit on the fountain's edge. The stone beneath you is slick and cool. The lion's mouth still pours its thin stream, steady and silver in the dimming light. You dip your fingers in. The water is cold enough to sting, and the feeling wakes you in a way no sound could. You let it run over your hands, your wrists, your face. It smells faintly of minerals, clean and dry and real. You look up. The sky above the rooftops has gone soft. A pale wash of lavender streaked with the first stars. Smoke rises in lazy threads from a dozen small fires, curling upward until it disappears into dusk. A man nearby begins to sing. His voice is low, rough, not trained but true. The song has no hurry in it. It tells of harvest, of rivers, of the ordinary heroism of living another day. The dice players laugh at something. Someone coughs. Someone else mutters a prayer. You stay there, your fingertips tracing the smooth edge of the fountain. The water glimmers like melted metal. The stars sharpen above. You realize you haven't spoken in hours. You haven't needed to. Rome speaks for you. The sky deepens. One by one, lamps are lit in windows. Tiny fires blooming against the cool air. Their glow flickers along the alley walls, weaving gold into the shadows. A woman passes carrying a bundle of rushes for kindling. The scent follows her, green, dry, whispering of forests that live far beyond the city's edge. You wonder briefly how far the empire stretches, and whether night looks the same wherever its borders reach. You imagine soldiers watching other suns set, other waters gleam. Perhaps they too sit in the quiet at day's end, letting the sound of their own breath match the rhythm of the world. The thought comforts you. The fountain's song slows. A breeze stirs your hair. The warmth in the stone begins to fade beneath your palms. You rise at last, the fig's sweetness still lingering on your tongue, and begin to walk home through streets that glow softly with the light of open doors. The air is filled with the scent of wine and smoke, of wood, of time. You pass people eating on thresholds, their voices low, their laughter easy. A child waves from a doorway, you wave back. Your own doorway waits, familiar, shadowed, patient. You climb the stairs slowly, feeling the day slip away behind you like water from skin. Your little room greets you with stillness. You light the lamp again, its wick catching at once, its flame bending in the faint draft. The light dances across the wall, gentle, steady. You sit. Outside, the sound of the fountain still reaches you, a soft silver thread in the night. The city exhales. You do too. You eat the last bit of bread, drink the last of the wine, and watch the lamplight tremble. It has been one day, only one, yet it feels as if you have lived a lifetime inside it. The morning's dust, the noon's heat, the night's water, all part of the same slow breath. You lean back, eyes half closed. The flame flickers once, twice, then steadies again. Outside, Rome hums, not loudly, but endlessly. 1,000 small lives folded into one great pulse. You smile faintly. You've come to know its rhythm now. And if you listen closely, you can hear your own heartbeat fall into step with it. The still evening. But already, the next day is waiting in the dark. Tell me, where are you now, listener? Can you hear your own city breathing too? Night descends without ceremony. It doesn't fall. It seeps, filling the corners first, softening the edges of stone, hiding the sharpness of daylight. The hum of the city dims to a low, steady pulse. Somewhere in the distance, a door closes, and the echo takes its time dying out. You sit beside your lamp, its small flame bending slightly in the breeze that creeps through the half-open window. The air smells faintly of smoke and iron, the last embers of cooking fires below, the metallic tang of cooled air after heat. Outside, the street glows in pools of light. Each doorway holds a small, flickering fire, each window a secret. Rome at night is not dark. It is silver. You breathe deeply, feeling the heaviness of the day settle into your body. Not tiredness, exactly, but fullness. You've seen everything and nothing, heard everything and nothing. The city has folded itself into you. The sounds are quieter now, sandals brushing the stones, the faint laugh of someone telling a story too quietly to understand, the creak of wood cooling after long heat. A cat pads along the roof above you, pauses, stretches, moves on. You stand and walk to the window. The stars shimmer faintly above, washed thin by the haze of the fires. Still, they are there, the same ones that have watched the city rise and fall and rise again. You wonder how many other eyes, through the centuries, have looked up at them from this very street. The Tiber murmurs faintly somewhere beyond the rooftops. His voice is softer now, slower. You imagine it turning dark beneath the moon, carrying with it the secrets of the city. Laughter, sorrow, spilled wine, ashes. Everything Rome lets go of ends up in the water. And the river never complains. You light another lamp, though you don't need more light. The second flame joins the first, their glows blending into a quiet warmth that fills the room. The shadows retreat into the corners, folding themselves neatly away. For a while you simply sit. The walls breathe. The city breathes. You breathe. Then, from somewhere below, a soft song rises. A lullaby, perhaps. A mother's voice, rough but gentle, threading through the air like smoke. The tune is simple, almost circular, meant not to be heard but felt. You close your eyes and listen. It feels as old as the stones beneath you. The song fades slowly, replaced by the steady rhythm of the fountain. The water sounds clearer now, each droplet a note, each pause a silence you can rest inside. It's as if the whole city were whispering a single, endless word. You stretch your legs and lie back on the bed. The straw sighs beneath you. The ceiling above is painted with faint cracks that form no pattern. Yet you trace them anyway with your eyes, like constellations. A moth flutters near the lamp, circles twice, then settles on the wall. Its wings tremble in the light, soft and uncertain. You find comfort in its quiet persistence. From the hallway comes a slow, rhythmic creak, footsteps on wood. Someone passes your door, pauses briefly, then continues upward. A neighbor, perhaps, or the building itself shifting in its sleep. You listen until the sound disappears. The air grows cooler. The smell of dust deepens. You pull your thin blanket closer. Its weight is light, its warmth uneven, but it feels enough. For a moment, your mind drifts to the baths. The mist, the echo, the feeling of clean water against your skin. You remember the scrape of the strigil, the scent of laurel oil, the laughter blurred by steam. The memory carries its own kind of warmth. You imagine the marble halls now, empty and gleaming in the moonlight. The water still, mirrors waiting for faces that will not return until morning. Even silence in Rome seems to have a pulse. You turn onto your side, eyes half closed. The sounds outside have thinned even further. Only the fountain remains, steady, eternal. Your thoughts wander. To the baker, who will soon wake before the dawn. To the woman who sang. To the fisherman on the Tiber, whose nets may already be in the water again. All of them living the same rhythm you have seen, the same gentle cycle of dust and breath and bread. There is a peace in that repetition. No hurry, no noise, just the slow turn of hours soft as water. You feel the pull of sleep gathering behind your eyes. The lamp beside you flickers once, twice, then steadies again, as if matching your breathing. The flame's reflection shimmers faintly on the wall, stretching and folding with every small motion of air. The room has become a cocoon, light, air, and time wrapping around you until nothing else exists. You can almost hear the city's heartbeat beneath the stillness. Not loud, not strong, but certain. A sound that says, "We are still here." You let it carry you. Your breath slows. The fountain fades. The lamplight softens to gold, then to shadow. Rome sleeps, and so do you. For a moment, before dreams take you, you think of how everything you've seen, the water, the bread, the laughter, the dust, has belonged to a single day. One small circle in a city of endless circles. Tomorrow will come just as this one did. The baths will fill again. The bread will rise again. The voices will return. And you will wake to it all again. The same sun, the same water, the same sound of life unfolding. You smile faintly, and then, without realizing it, you drift into the silence between heartbeats. into the soft dark where the city still breathes around you, into another Rome, another morning, waiting just beyond the dream. Thank you for walking this full circle, from dawn to night, through water, dust, laughter, and sleep. Before you rest too, tell me quietly, where are you listening from now? And is it night for you as well? The night lingers long after the mind lets go. It breathes in slow waves, rising and falling around you, the city dreaming in its own language. You are not awake, not truly, yet the sounds reach you all the same. The sigh of water through the pipes of the Insula, the soft groan of wood shifting as it cools, the far, rhythmic clop of hooves crossing the stones beyond the river. Your dreams are made of these sounds. They shape themselves into places you've already walked, faces you've already seen. A courtyard filled with figs, a bath of quiet marble and mist, a window full of morning light. Somewhere in the dream, you walk again through the market. The stalls shimmer half real, their colors blurred. You smell bread, but it's sweeter this time, honey and wheat and something like memory. You reach for it, and the sound of the fountain answers instead. The dream folds in on itself. You're back in your room, though it doesn't look quite the same. The walls glow faintly, as if lit from within. The air hums softly, full of water and whisper. You can't tell if the sound comes from outside or from your own breathing. Time moves differently here. Each breath feels longer than an hour, each heartbeat as slow as a sunrise. The lamp that burned beside you earlier now flickers inside the dream, impossibly tall, its flame a single thread stretching upward into darkness. You watch it sway, calm, endless, and then a sound, faint, gentle, familiar. Someone is sweeping the street outside. You can hear the broom dragging against stone, gathering dust, marking the first motion of the new day. You open your eyes. The light that greets you is the same pale gray that has greeted every Roman since time began. Not night, not day, something in between. A whisper of the world before the noise returns. The air feels cool again. The smell of ashes has softened into the scent of bread once more. You rise slowly, as if afraid to disturb the quiet. The room is half shadow, half dawn. The plaster glows faintly where the light touches it. Your breath fogs for an instant, then fades. You move to the window. Below, the fountain's voice is steady, unchanged. The alley is empty, still wet from last night's cleaning. Farther down, a baker's door opens with a low creak. A figure steps out, the same large man, the one whose hands are always white with flour. He stretches, yawns, looks at the sky. You see his breath rise in a thin mist. He does not see you, but you nod to him anyway, a silent greeting through time. He sets a wooden paddle against the doorframe, then disappears inside. Moments later, a small plume of smoke curls upward from his chimney, catching the first light of the day. You close your eyes and breathe. The smell reaches you a moment later, the first loaf of morning, still raw, still full of promise. The street remains quiet for now, but you know the rhythm will return soon. The first cart, the first cry of the fruit seller, the first argument about price. The city never stops. It only pauses to remember itself. You look down at your hands, still faintly marked with the scent of oil from yesterday's baths. The faint gold of sunlight touches your skin. For a heartbeat, you imagine it's not light at all, but time itself, pooling there warm and weightless. You smile. Somewhere above, a window opens, a shutter creaks. A woman's voice murmurs a greeting to no one in particular. Another answers, then laughter. And just like that, the day begins again. You turn from the window and pour what remains of the water into your basin. The sound is delicate, like glass breaking in slow motion. You splash your face. The cold burns, then soothes. You reach for your cloak, the same one you've worn all this time, and drape it over your shoulders. The wool scratches lightly against your neck. The air beneath it warms. Outside, the first cart rolls by. You hear the mule snort, the creak of wood, the soft thud of hooves. The rhythm of Rome returns. Not loud, not urgent, just sure. You watch from your window as the light thickens. The roofs across the street catch fire with gold. The fountain gleams. The baker emerges again, this time carrying a tray of bread. Steam rises. Voices gather. The sound of the city swells, a wave that has broken and begun again. You whisper something you don't quite hear yourself say. Maybe a prayer, maybe just a thought, and let it drift out with the morning air. You think of the baths, the market, the quiet river, the faces that pass and return each day. You think of the way the city never really sleeps. It only changes its tone, its color, its pace. And you realize that you, too, have learned its rhythm. You have become part of it. Your breath, your step, your silence. All small notes in the same endless song. You rest your hands on the windowsill, feeling the warmth of the stone. Somewhere far away, a rooster calls, late but proud. You laugh softly. The air smells of bread and sunlight. The light fills the room completely now, brushing away the last traces of shadow. You turn away from the window and sit once more. The lamp, cold now, stands beside you, its wick darkened but ready. You touch it gently, like greeting an old friend. The city outside hums, louder, faster. Awake again, alive again. You close your eyes, listening. You hear footsteps. You hear laughter. You hear water. It's all beginning again, the same day, the same song, the same breath. And yet, somehow, it feels new. Rome has opened its eyes once more. And so have you. Thank you for staying through the circle of this day, from the hiss of the baths to the hush of the night, and now into the quiet brightness of morning. If you are still awake, tell me gently, is it morning for you too? Or are you listening from the edge of your own night? The light climbs the wall inch by inch, warming the plaster, tracing the edges of every crack like a slow tide coming home. Outside, the first calls of the day rise higher now, bold, confident, awake. The market hums in full again. Carts, voices, metal against metal, laughter slipping between words. You sit and let it wash through you, the way one listens to rain. The air inside your little room feels softer than before. The scent of the city has changed again. The bite of smoke now replaced by the mild sweetness of morning bread and freshly crushed grapes. The faint perfume of oil lingers from someone's nearby lamp, mixing with the aroma of mint leaves steeping somewhere unseen. You breathe it in slowly, eyes half closed, letting the warmth fill your chest. You move to the door and step into the hallway. The floorboards beneath your feet still remember the night's quiet. A few doors stand open now. The soldier with the missing tooth nods at you as he sharpens a knife on his knee. He hums tunelessly, a sound like gravel and comfort. You nod back. The rhythm between you is the same as yesterday, small, steady, polite. Down the stairs you go. The light in the stairwell catches the dust suspended in the air. It glitters as though the city were exhaling stars. The smell of warm milk rises from the lower floor. Someone laughs. A short, bright sound, cut quickly by another voice reminding them that work awaits. You reach the street. The air there greets you like a friend who never truly left. Cool at first, then heavy with promise. The stones are wet from where someone has thrown a bucket of water to settle the dust. Your sandals leave faint, damp prints behind you. The same vendors from yesterday are already at their posts. The fig seller rearranges his fruit by color, humming softly. The woman who sells olive oil leans over her jars, testing their shine in the sun. A man carries a basket of herbs, rosemary, thyme, mint, Their scent cuts sharply through the heavier air. He nods as he passes. You can almost taste the green freshness of it. The fountain sings its familiar tune, constant, kind. Its water catches the light like metal in motion. You dip your hands into it again, not to drink, just to feel. The cold shocks you, but gently. Feels like truth, simple and clean. A child runs past, laughing, chasing a dog with one ear turned inside out. Their joy collides with the sound of a smith's hammer somewhere down the street, with a woman's call for figs, with a mule's protest. The music of Rome returns in full, unashamed. You walk. The street widens into a small square, where sunlight pools between awnings. A few men sit with cups of watered wine, already speaking of the day's work. Their voices carry in low tones, names of merchants, prices, weather, politics of no consequence. You pass through the scent of their wine and roasted grain into a gentler alley. The walls here are close and high, but a strip of sky cuts through above, blue and perfect. Laundry flaps softly overhead, white, pale red, the dull yellow of linen that's seen too many summers. Each piece catches the light, glowing like sails in slow motion. You stop to watch. The city moves around you, yet nothing feels rushed. Everything happens in its own small time. Bread baked, water drawn, words exchanged, steps taken. It's a choreography no one rehearses, and no one forgets. The air grows warmer again. The smell of clay from a nearby kiln sharpens. You turn toward it, curious. The potter's stall sits half in shadow. Shelves of new bowls and lamps line the wall behind him. He works silently, turning a lump of clay with both hands, his fingers coated in pale dust. You watch him shape the rim, smooth it with the side of his thumb, then lift his eyes to yours for just a heartbeat. He nods once, a greeting or perhaps an acknowledgement of watching. Then, without a word, he returns to his work. The wheel spins. The clay rises. The city breathes. You realize that Rome is never truly quiet. Even its silences are full. Even now, in this small alley, you can hear the layers, distant laughter, a dove's wings, the faint murmur of the river somewhere below it all. The light shifts again. The color of the air turns from gold to white. The first taste of noon begins to settle. You return toward your insula, following the narrow path back through the crowd. The same smells meet you: grain, sweat, stone, and now the faint sweetness of honey melting in the heat. Your building waits as it always does. The stairway rises, its stones worn smooth. You climb, hand on the wall, feeling the warmth that the sun has poured into it. When you reach your floor, you pause at your door. The room inside glows softly, the light dancing across the wall where the lamp once flickered. You sit by the window again, the sound of the fountain still threading the air from below. The city continues its endless conversation, thousands of voices layered like waves. You could count them if you wished, but it would never end. The world outside is the same as it was yesterday. And yet, as you listen, you know that today's light, today's breath, today's water will never come again in exactly this way. You smile at the thought. The smell of bread drifts upward once more. You tear off a piece, eat slowly. Salt on your tongue, warmth in your throat, and you whisper to no one or perhaps to the city itself. Still morning, still here. The breeze stirs. Somewhere, a bell rings for the next hour. You rest your elbows on the sill and watch the light move down the wall, patient and kind. Rome breathes. You breathe. And time continues, not rushing forward, not dragging behind, just circling, forever returning. The day unfolds again, gentle and bright. Before you close your eyes and let the sound of water guide you, tell me quietly, what light fills your window now? Is it morning, or has your own night begun? The light outside your window has ripened into its softest hour. Not yet noon, but no longer morning. It feels as if the sun, tired from its slow climb, has paused to rest above the rooftops. Its warmth touches every surface gently, as though it's afraid to wake the shadows. From where you sit, you can see a cat stretched on a windowsill across the alley. It blinks once, slow, deliberate, the gesture of something that belongs entirely to the day. Somewhere above, a dove coos, its sound a heartbeat behind the rhythm of the fountain below. The air shimmers with heat, but in a kind way, the kind that holds, not burns. You take another sip of water, feeling the clay cup cool against your lip. The taste is faintly mineral, the flavor of stone and river. You think about how every drop of this water has come so far, through aqueducts and basins, through pipes and marble lions, before reaching your hands. Each sip carries 1,000 small journeys, invisible and ancient. The city outside hums softly, almost drowsy now. The busiest hour has passed. Even the merchants grow quiet in the heat. Their voices are low, unhurried, as though each word must wade through sunlight before reaching the air. The baker across the alley closes his oven door with a soft thud, wipes his brow, and leans against the wall. The smell that drifts from his shop is heavy and sweet, wheat, ash, the faintest touch of honey. It hangs in the air like memory itself. You rise and step into the hallway. The wood beneath your feet creaks gently. A faint breeze moves through the open stairwell, carrying the sound of the street, sandals, soft laughter, a boy whistling. When you step outside, the light is everywhere. It slides along the stones, pools beneath doorways, gathers on faces. It is gold, but not the sharp gold of coins. More like the muted glow of oil through linen. The fountain glitters brighter now. The water seems to fall in slow motion, each droplet a perfect bead of light. A woman fills a jug and looks up at you briefly. Her eyes catch the sunlight, and for a moment, she looks like she's carved from it. She smiles, quick, warm, fleeting, and returns to her task. You walk slowly toward the main street. The air tastes of dust and figs and metal. The city feels like it's breathing slower, settling into its great, invisible heart. At the corner, you pass the smith again. He's wiping his hands, resting his hammer against the wall. The metal glows faintly, cooling. He doesn't look up, but you can hear the quiet satisfaction in his breath, the kind that only comes after finishing something honest. Farther down, a group of boys are playing a game with stones, flicking them across the ground and arguing about rules that change with every turn. Their laughter fills the street like birdsong. You smile as you pass. One of them glances up and waves before returning to his game. The heat gathers thick and heavy, pressing against your skin. You pull your cloak tighter around your shoulders, though it doesn't help. It only reminds you of texture, of the slow softness of the fabric. A man nearby pours wine into a cup, offers it with a nod. The wine is warm, thin, but kind on the tongue. You take a sip and thank him quietly. He shrugs, no thanks needed, and returns to his thoughts. The city feels almost still now. Every sound seems to echo longer than it should. Footsteps, voices, the faint clang of a distant bell. Even the birds fall silent. You find shade beneath an awning near the corner. The cloth above you ripples slightly with the breeze, casting moving shadows that drift across your hands. You watch them change shape, merge, disappear. Somewhere, a lyre begins to play, a soft, slow melody that floats through the heat like a ribbon of air. It's not loud enough to follow, but you feel it, a presence just beyond hearing. You close your eyes. The city fades, leaving only sensation, the warmth on your skin, the sound of the fountain, the weight of air thick with sunlight. You breathe. Each inhale feels deeper than the one before. Each exhale carries something away, time, maybe, or thought. For a long while you stay like that, still, present, part of the city's great, slow pulse. When you open your eyes again, the light has shifted. The golden warmth has turned to a deeper color. The shade of honey left too long in the sun. You know what comes next. The hour of stillness. When even Rome takes a breath, and for a brief moment, everything pauses. The streets will empty. The vendors will rest. The river will hush. The world will fold into its quietest self. You rise, slowly, feeling the soft ache of stillness in your bones. The air is thick with expectation, but also with peace. Nothing rushes. Nothing asks. The fountain sighs behind you, and you realize that even its rhythm has slowed. You glance once more at the sky. The blue there has deepened, as though the heavens themselves have leaned closer to listen. You smile faintly, step away from the shade, and begin to walk again, through the light, through the air, through the living hush of a city that never stops, only rests. The sound of your footsteps joins the others, one soft beat among thousands, each one steady, each one ancient, each one carrying the quiet truth of Rome. It is noon now. The world is full of light, and still, somehow, it feels like the same dream. The day grows long, and Rome drifts toward its next heartbeat. The heat, the rest, the return of shadow. And you, are you still awake where you are? Is the light rising or falling outside your window now? The stillness of noon settles deep into the city. It is not silence, not quite, more a soft suspension, as if the world is holding its breath. Even the pigeons seem slower now, wings beating in lazy arcs above the rooftops. The air ripples like glass. The streets shimmer. You move carefully through the brightness, every step a small negotiation with the heat. The stones beneath your sandals radiate yesterday's fire, and the light seems to hum in your ears. Somewhere far away, a door shuts, a pot clinks, and the sound is swallowed instantly by the warmth. Rome sleeps with its eyes open. The vendors have drawn back under their awnings. Children nap in shaded corners, curled like kittens. Even the dogs have given up their barking, stretched thin against the cool stone of alley walls. You pass the same fountain. It streamed thinner now, sparkling under the sun like a thin thread of silver. A woman fills her jar with slow, practiced movements. She doesn't look at you, but nods once, a wordless greeting shared by everyone who has survived the noon heat. The scent of time drifts by, crushed underfoot, perhaps, or caught in the folds of someone's robe. It mixes with the heavier smells of sun-warmed clay, wine, and sweat. You find a shaded step and sit. The marble feels cool at first, then warms quickly beneath you. You close your eyes. The hum of the city becomes a kind of lullaby. The faint roll of carts, the distant bleat of a goat, the sigh of water against stone. Time loosens its grip here. A single breath feels like an hour. A heartbeat could last a lifetime. You rest your elbows on your knees and watch the light shift. The shadows creep and bend, marking the slow passage of something you no longer need to measure. You think of the people around you, the potter at his wheel, the baker in his oven's glow, the smith wiping his brow, the woman at the fountain. Each one doing something small, ordinary, eternal. Each one part of this great, slow rhythm. You realize that there's no such thing as stillness here. Even when Rome rests, it moves. Even when the air is too heavy for sound, it hums. You can feel it through the soles of your feet, that endless pulse beneath the stones, the steady breath of a city older than memory. A cart rolls past, its wheels creaking softly. The driver shields his face with a strip of linen. Behind him, amphorae clink like wind chimes, faint and sweet. You watch him disappear around the corner and feel the air tremble in his wake. Above you, Laundry stirs on its line. The sunlight catches it, turns it almost transparent. It ripples once, then falls still again, like a sigh. You look toward the horizon, though you can't see it. Only the slanted angles of roofs, the distant rise of smoke from unseen hearths. Beyond that, the Tiber moving slow as honey. Beyond that, hills pale and dry. And beyond those, nothing you can name. The thought makes you smile. You close your eyes again, and the city turns into sound. The trickle of water, the creak of shutters, the soft murmur of voices behind walls. Feels almost holy, this stillness, a kind of worship that requires no temple. The heat presses closer, heavy, almost tender. You feel it soak into your bones, your breath, your heartbeat. A single drop of water falls from the fountain and hits the stone beside your foot. It hisses softly, evaporating before your eyes. You watch it disappear. A perfect act of vanishing, quiet and complete. You understand then why the Romans build everything to last. Because so much of what they love disappears in an instant. You stay seated until the air begins to move again. It starts small, a whisper, a shiver in the shadows. Then a second wind follows, cooler this time, sliding through the alley with the faint scent of figs and iron. Someone laughs nearby, breaking the spell. A low, easy laugh. The sound of a man waking from a nap, stretching, remembering himself. The city exhales. You stand, slowly, feeling the blood return to your limbs. The light has softened just enough that the world seems to exhale with you. The first stirrings of afternoon begin. Footsteps, talk, the rhythmic rattle of lids on amphory being opened again. The smell of bread returns, sharper this time, darker. The baker will light his oven again soon. The market will refill. The baths will open for the second time. The day turns over, not ending, not beginning, just changing its color. You walk back toward your insula. The streets have regained their sound. A woman hums while hanging fresh linen. A boy balances a basket on his head, steady as a statue. A group of men argue cheerfully in the shade, their hands carving shapes in the air as they speak. You walk past them, nodding, and they nod back. It's enough acknowledgement without demand. The kind of grace that cities give to strangers who stay long enough to stop being strangers. The fountain greets you once more with its song. The water falls freely now, clearer, brighter, as if it too has woken from a dream. You rest your hand on its rim, the stone still damp from the morning. The sun glances off the surface and scatters into your eyes. The sound of a lyre drifts faintly from a distant window, slow, melancholic, ancient. It reminds you of something you've never known. You smile, half at the thought, half at the hour itself. The city stretches again, golden and alive. Its pulse returns. And in the heart of it, so do you. The afternoon breathes in, soft and full, readying for the long descent toward evening once again. And as Rome moves, quiet and radiant around you, I'll ask, gently, as always, where are you now, listener? Is your world beginning to glow, or beginning to fade? The air begins to cool, though the warmth lingers like a memory. The edges of the light soften, curling around the corners of the buildings as if the day itself is reluctant to end. You can feel it, that quiet hesitation before evening. The hum of the city slows again, shifts its tone, deepens. From somewhere unseen comes the sound of a broom against stone. Slow, sweeping arcs that gather dust and daylight together. A woman hums while she works, her voice calm, unhurried. The tune drifts upward, rising and fading with the rhythm of her motion. You lean against the wall near your doorway. The stone is warm at your back, but the air in front of you carries a faint coolness, the promise of shadow. The smell of baking bread has changed again, darker, denser, mixed with the sharper scent of olive oil heating in a pan. A man passes carrying a basket of small fish, the kind caught at dawn and salted through the afternoon. Their silver scales flash briefly before vanishing into the glow of another doorway. Above you, the sky deepens, pale blue turning to a muted gold, the gold surrendering to rose. The light slips down the street in a single wave, brushing the stones, touching the fountain, pooling in the corners where no one walks. You take a step forward. The sound of your sandals on the cobblestones joins the evening rhythm, one soft note among thousands. A boy runs past, chasing the shadow of a pigeon that hops just ahead of him. He laughs when it flies away, his voice carrying like a spark. The laughter echoes once, twice, then fades into the hum of other lives. You turn toward the fountain again. The water is darker now, but it still catches the last of the light. The lion's face carved into the stone looks almost alive in the glow, its eyes shadowed, its mouth forever mid-roar. You reach out and let the cool water slide over your fingers. It smells faintly of moss and earth, the scent of things older than the city itself. The air grows heavier with food, roasted grain, stewed lentils, garlic softened in oil. Each scent curls through the streets like a thread, twisting together into something comforting, something human. You realize you haven't eaten since morning, but hunger feels gentle now, patient, easy to ignore. You walk down the narrow lane toward the open square. The market has folded into evening. Stalls are closing, their awnings hang loose. A few vendors linger, selling what remains. A handful of dates, a half jar of olives, a cup of wine gone thin from the sun. You stop by one of them, an old man with hands as brown and rough as the wood of his cart. He offers you a small bundle of grapes, still dusted with bloom, their skins tight with sweetness. You hand him 2 small coins. He nods, no words needed. You eat one grape as you walk, the juice cool against your tongue. The streets begin to glow, not from the sun, but from the lamps being lit one by one. Each doorway, each window becomes a small constellation. The city shifts from gold to bronze to amber, from brilliance to intimacy. You can hear laughter again. Deeper now, slower, shaped by wine and warmth. Somewhere nearby, a lyre plays a low, measured tune. Its notes hang in the air like mist, neither sad nor joyful, simply true. You walk toward the sound. In a small courtyard, half hidden between buildings, a group of people sit around a table. Bread, wine, olives. One man gestures as he speaks, the others listening, nodding, smiling. The sound of their talk blends with the fountain's murmur, the pluck of the lyre, the sigh of the wind. You don't need to understand their words to know what they mean. The conversation of those who have survived the day is always the same, a song of simple relief. You pause at the edge of the courtyard, unseen, and listen for a while. Their laughter is soft, their silences even softer. When one of them begins to sing, a short, playful melody about love and luck and bread, the others join in, and for a moment, the whole city seems to hum along. You smile and step back, letting the song carry you away. You walk again, slowly, through streets that are no longer bright, only kind. The air grows cooler still. You feel it against your arms, against your neck, against the small space between breaths. The lamps flicker, bending in the breeze. Their light trembles on the wet stones, turning the ground into a shallow river of gold. Above, the sky is nearly purple now, with a faint trace of silver where the moon hides behind a cloud. You stop to look at it. For a moment, the whole world feels balanced, between noise and silence, between light and dark, between you and everything else. A bell rings again, marking the hour. Its sound rolls through the streets, deep and slow. Each note lingers like a wave breaking against the edges of the city. You turn back toward your insula. Your feet know the way by now, the pattern of steps, the curve of the stones, the tilt of each shadow. The fountain greets you one last time before you climb the stairs. Its voice is steady, endless, unchanged. The first stars appear above it, trembling in the reflection of the water. You pause there, your hand on the cool stone, and whisper something. Not a prayer, not exactly, but gratitude. For the day, for the city, for the quiet that comes at its end. Then you turn, climb the stairs, and open your door. Inside, your room is dim and waiting. The air still smells faintly of the morning, of dust, and bread, and warmth. You light the lamp once more. Its glow fills the room gently, chasing away the last of the dusk. Outside, the fountain continues to sing. You sit beside your small table, break the rest of your bread, pour the last of your wine. You eat slowly, without hurry, while the city exhales around you. When you're done, you lean back, close your eyes, and listen. The night is coming, but not yet. There is still time to breathe, to remember, to belong. The city moves in its endless rhythm. You have learned to move with it. And in that rhythm, in that quiet, everything feels right. It's evening again. The day has folded itself neatly into night. And still, somehow, it feels like one long breath, one endless moment stretched across light and shadow. Thank you for staying with Rome as it turns once more toward its gentle dark. Tell me softly, do you hear your own night drawing near too? Or does your morning still hold? The light finally leaves the walls. Not suddenly. It fades like an exhaled breath, like a candle's last whisper before smoke. The room sighs into shadow. You watch the change unfold in silence, as if afraid to move too quickly and disturb the peace that settles with the dark. Outside, the first stars appear, weak and flickering against the glow of the lamps below. The air cools, carrying with it the soft scent of oil, dust, and bread crusts hardening in the baker's shop. The sounds have changed again. Laughter now distant, the clatter of amphorae subdued, a murmur of closing shutters. The fountain keeps its rhythm, patient as always. You sit by the window, your elbow resting on the sill. The air is different at this hour. No longer warm, no longer heavy, but alive, like something freshly breathed. You can feel the pulse of it, gentle, steady. Down in the alley, a boy walks slowly, carrying a small lamp that swings in his hand. Its light touches the walls as he passes, a golden heartbeat that fades behind him. He disappears into the next street, leaving the air still and expectant. The lamps below flicker, then hold. Their flames tremble in the faint breeze, mirrored by puddles that gleam like black glass. The color of the night deepens. Not empty, not dark, but full, like ink soaking into parchment. You listen. The city speaks differently now. The rhythm is softer, slower, half dreaming. A woman sings far away, just a few notes carried by the wind. A door closes. A dog barks once, then settles. You lean your head against the wall. The plaster is cool against your skin. The room smells faintly of smoke and oil and you, the scent of a long day lived honestly. You reach for your lamp and turn the wick down. The light bends, then steadies, soft as a sigh. It paints your hand in gold, the rest of the room in shadow. This, you think, is the truest Rome, not the Rome of triumph or marble, but this, a city of quiet rooms and murmured songs, of lamps burning low and fountains whispering to the night. You breathe slowly, feeling time stretch thin, like silk between your fingers. Outside, someone begins to sweep again. The faint scrape of the broom moves back and forth, gathering the day's dust into small, neat circles. Each stroke sounds like a heartbeat. You count them without meaning to. A faint breeze slips through the window and brushes your hair. It smells of river water and smoke from olive wood fires. It smells of endings, but not sad ones, the kind that hum softly, knowing that morning always follows. You close your eyes. For a moment you are both here and not, half in the room, half in the slow breath of the city. The sounds blur together. The fountain, the broom, the hum of the wind. Everything becomes one long note, low and endless. You think of the people sleeping now, the baker curled beside his oven, the potter with clay still under his nails, the old soldier on the floor above, still whispering to his invisible bird. Each of them cradled by the same hum, the same invisible heartbeat of stone and air. You let the thought comfort you. The lamp flickers once, its flame bending low. You watch it, smiling faintly, as though the light itself were breathing with you. You whisper, tomorrow, though no one is there to hear. The word feels soft in your mouth. Neither promise nor wish, just acknowledgement. You lie down. The straw mattress welcomes you with its familiar crackle. You pull the thin blanket to your chest. The air is cool now, the kind that carries silence like a gift. The fountain's song is steady, lulling. The city hums its ancient lullaby, the same one it has sung for centuries. Your eyelids grow heavy. The light from the lamp fades at the edges of your sight, turning the room into a dim halo of warmth. Outside, the last laughter fades. Only the sound of water remains. And then even that becomes part of your breathing. You drift, not into sleep exactly, but into something softer, something quieter. The kind of rest that feels older than time, older than thought. The air settles. The lamp dims. The night closes gently, like a door that never locks. Rome sleeps, and you finally sleep with it. Somewhere far away, dawn is already being prepared. Not yet light, but the idea of it, gathering at the edges of the world. And you, floating between centuries, rest in that pause between breaths. Tell me softly, before you go, is your world quiet too now? Or can you still hear your city breathing through the dark? The night stretches quietly. It is a long velvet thing, soft, heavy, alive in the way a sleeping creature is alive. You rest in the center of it, neither fully awake nor fully dreaming. The air has changed again. The warmth of the day has fled the walls, leaving behind the scent of stone, faint ash, and something sweet. The ghost of fruit left on a table, ripening in the dark. You can almost hear it, that still, invisible work of ripening, of time moving even when nothing else does. A breeze stirs the edge of your blanket. It slips through the window and brushes against your face, cool as the inside of a clay jar. It carries a hint of the river, of wet earth and forgotten water lilies. You breathe it in. The night air here tastes different. Not empty, but seasoned, like something long kept and well used. Somewhere above you would creak softly, perhaps the soldier shifting in his sleep, or the roof beams settling under the cool. The sound is small, familiar, like a memory of footsteps from another room. You lie still and let the quiet unfold. From the street below comes the faintest sound of motion, the sweep of a cartwheel, slow and uneven. A late traveler, perhaps, or someone returning from a tavern near the baths. The mule's hooves strike the cobblestones in careful rhythm. Each step sounds like a heartbeat heard through water. You listen until the sound fades, dissolving into the hush. The fountain continues its endless song. Its water gleams in the moonlight, a ribbon of silver sliding down the worn stone. Every few moments, a droplet escapes and lands somewhere unseen, its tiny splash perfectly clear in the night. You watch the reflection of the water dance across your ceiling, a soft, flickering light, as if the room itself were breathing. It ripples gently, casting faint silver across the plaster cracks. You trace the shapes in your mind, rivers perhaps, or roads, or the folds of fabric on a statue's robe. The strange, how stillness can hold so much movement inside it. Your eyes grow heavy, but your mind stays awake just enough to wander. You think of the city, the thousands of lamps like yours, flickering behind shutters, each with its own watcher, its own story. A potter's apprentice dreaming of his master's praise. A mother whispering to a child. A poet rehearsing lines he will forget by morning. A baker already stirring his dough. All of them alive in this same breath of night, scattered stars within the walls of the city. And somewhere beyond, the dark hills sleep beneath their silver crowns. The breeze moves again, lifting the edge of the lamp's flame. It bends and straightens the way a dancer leans before rising. You can smell the faintest trace of burning oil, sharp, comforting, intimate. You turn slightly, the blanket shifting against your skin. The straw sighs beneath you. A few pieces of grain crack softly in protest, then fall still. The rhythm of your breath matches the rhythm of the fountain. In out, in out. Water and air, the same music played on different instruments. Outside, a new sound joins. Low, resonant, far away. A bell. One long note, then another. The hour has turned. The city, though mostly sleeping, still keeps count of its own silence. You open your eyes briefly. The sky visible through the window has turned lighter at its farthest edge. Not yet dawn, but no longer the deep heart of night. The stars tremble faintly in their retreat. The moon, pale and thin now, hangs above the rooftops like a coin worn smooth by too many hands. The fountain sighs louder for a moment, as if noticing the change. The air grows thinner, lighter. You can almost feel the city beginning to stir again. Not in movement, but in thought. There's a beauty in this hour no painter can capture. Everything is both ending and beginning, folded perfectly together. You close your eyes again, though you are not quite asleep. You feel your own heartbeat settle into the same rhythm as the city. Slow, wide, steady. You think, in some quiet part of your mind, that this must be what eternity feels like. Not grand, not blinding, just this, a shared stillness. A soft breath between one light and the next. The lamp sputters once, then smooths itself. The flame leans lower, the color deepening to amber. You whisper a word, perhaps in thanks, though you're not sure to whom. It doesn't matter. The air understands. The city's pulse continues beneath you, faint but unbroken, like a song half remembered. You drift further into the space between waking and dreaming, where sound becomes light and time becomes water. You are floating now, through walls, through streets, through the skin of the city itself. You see the river glint below, the rooftops shimmer, the lamps fade one by one. The dawn has not yet come, but its shadow moves just beyond the horizon, waiting, patient. Rome sleeps in your breath. And you are part of it now. Morning waits just outside the door. But not yet. The night still has one breath left to give. Tell me, quietly, before it ends, is the world outside your window dark too? Or has the first light already touched your walls? The sky is a bruise of indigo now. Not quite night, not quite dawn. The air has thinned. Even the shadows have grown lighter, softer. You can hear the city exhale, that long slow sigh it gives before the first sound of morning. The lamp beside your bed has burned low, its oil nearly gone. The flame bends, wavers, steadies, as if reluctant to end. The sound wakes you not loud, but certain. The brush of sandals on stone. The soft clatter of clay jars being set down outside. Someone, perhaps the same woman who swept the alley last night, is already at work. You blink in the dim light. The world is blue walls, ceiling, air, even your hands. Everything covered in that calm color that exists only in this hour. The hour Rome keeps for itself before the noise begins. You sit up, The blanket slides down, cool against your skin. The air smells faintly of river mist and ash. A thin ribbon of smoke from your dying lamp curls toward the ceiling, where it vanishes into shadow. You rise and move to the window. The fountain below still sings, though quieter now, as if it, too, is tired. The water catches the first light. Not golden yet, only the palest gray, a shimmer, a breath. Across the alley, shutters open one by one. A voice coughs. A door creaks. A whisper of the new day spreads like spilled milk over stone. You rest your elbows on the sill and breathe deeply. The air is cool and damp, and when you draw it in, it tastes faintly of earth and iron and the promise of bread. A baker's apprentice hurries down the street below, carrying a tray of loaves still steaming from the oven. Their scent rises through the air, sweet, yeasty, ancient. You close your eyes for a moment and let the smell pull you fully into morning. The city has not yet found its full voice, but the first notes are there. The murmur of conversation, the slap of water against stone, the distant clang of a gate being opened. It feels less like the beginning of a day and more like the continuation of one great, endless breath. You lean farther out the window. The sky above the rooftops has begun to pale. Faint threads of pink lace the horizon. The hills beyond the city are still wrapped in shadow, but their outlines have returned. A bird sings once, short and sharp, then again. Another answers, and suddenly there is a chorus, not loud, but full, patient, inevitable. You smile. The light touches your face now, the first warmth of the sun's return. It's a small warmth, fragile, the kind that belongs only to beginnings. You feel it spread along your cheek, your hands, the sill beneath your fingers. The fountain glitters silver now. The water is clearer, louder, brighter. It feels like the city itself is waking in its reflection. You hear a soft laugh from somewhere below. Two merchants greeting each other, voices carrying up the narrow alley. The rhythm of the street begins to return. A cart rolling, a door slamming, a dog barking at nothing in particular. Rome is opening its eyes. You whisper good morning to no one, though perhaps to everyone. The baker, the fountain, the old soldier, the woman with her broom. The word feels strange in your mouth, but kind. The air around you brightens by the second. You can see color again. Red tiles, brown wood, green leaves trembling in the breeze. The shadows flee from the walls, gathering at the corners like thoughts not yet ready to fade. You think of the night just past. Its silence, its breath, the silver of the fountain, the sound of the bell. You think of how each moment folds perfectly into the next, like waves that never stop reaching the same shore. You close your eyes again, not to sleep, but to remember. Behind your lids, the city glows. A pulse of gold and blue and smoke. A world both ancient and alive, full of noise and stillness, hunger and peace. When you open your eyes, the light is stronger. The sun has crested the far roofs, and the first true gold has spilled down into the alley. You feel it touch your feet, your hands, your heart. The day has begun again, and yet it feels as though it never ended. You step away from the window, the floor warm now beneath your feet. The scent of bread grows richer, thicker, pulling you gently toward the door. Outside, the street hums with the first full hour of morning. People greet each other, the same words, the same tones, the same rituals repeated with quiet joy. You listen to it all, the chorus of the living city. The rhythm of breath and labor, of steps and laughter, of water and flame. Each sound folds into the next, creating the same perfect pattern that has shaped every Roman morning before. You realize then that the city is not just something you walk through. It walks through you. Every scent, every sound, every flicker of light stays, makes its home somewhere inside. Rome lives by remembering, and now so do you. You take one last look at the sky. It is no longer blue or pink, but full gold, complete. The light spills over the rooftops, fills the alley, finds every corner of the room. You breathe it in. It tastes of warmth and stone and the endless return of things. You smile not widely but fully, because you understand now. You have lived a day in Rome, and you could live 1,000 more the same way. Each one new, each one the same. The sun climbs higher. The fountain sings louder. The market begins again. The smell of bread thickens. And somewhere below, a voice calls out, bright, ordinary, eternal, panis, fresh bread. You laugh softly, whispering back, though no one hears, yes, again. And just like that, the circle closes. Rome breathes in. You breathe out. Another day begins. Tell me quietly now, has your sun risen too? Or are you still listening from the edge of your own night? The sun has now climbed completely over the roofs, and the day stretches ahead like a road that has no end. The walls of your room gleam pale gold, washed clean by the new light. You can hear everything. The street below, the fountain, the first full rush of the city's heartbeat. Rome has opened itself again. You linger at the window for a while, watching the life beneath you unfold. The baker's boy runs barefoot, shouting, carrying a tray of rolls balanced perfectly on his head. A woman stops him and buys one, breaking it open right there on the street. The steam curls up into the morning air, vanishing as quickly as it's born. A cart creaks past, wheels thumping over the uneven stones. The driver whistles a simple tune, without hurry. There is warmth everywhere now, on your hands, on the wall, even in the air you breathe. The faint chill of dawn is gone, replaced by the familiar weight of the day. But this warmth feels new, somehow gentler. The kind of warmth that comes not from fire, but from being alive. You wash your face in the small basin by the wall. The water is cool, sharp against your skin. You watch it drip from your fingers and listen as it falls into the clay bowl. One drop, then another, the rhythm steady and small. Outside, the fountain answers, echoing it from afar. You dress, the fabric soft from use, carrying the faint scent of oil and sunlight. The belt creaks as you tighten it, leather warm to the touch. Each small gesture feels like memory, something you've done 1,000 times before and will do 1,000 more. When you step outside, the street greets you like an old friend. The air smells of grain and ash, of figs and sweat and dust. It's the smell of work, of life, of something both wild and familiar. You feel it fill your lungs, and you know again that you are part of it. Not visitor, not stranger, just another thread in its endless fabric. You walk slowly toward the market. The sound of voices grows, low at first, then louder, richer, layered. A call for wine, a laugh, the clang of bronze, the shuffle of sandals. Each sound distinct, yet all of them together make something whole. A single, continuous tone that hums through every stone, every breath, every moment. The sun glances off the rooftops, blinding for an instant. Then the glare softens, and the colors of the city sharpen. Terracotta, ochre, ivory. The faint green of vines curling up a wall. It's a painting that never dries. You pass the same fountain, now crowded. A child splashes their hands, and the woman beside them scolds half-heartedly. A dog drinks from the basin, tail flicking lazily. Someone pours out old water and replaces it with new, the arc of the stream catching the light in 1,000 glittering fragments. You pause for a moment, watching. The water feels alive, eternal. It moves and never stops moving. You touch the rim of the fountain, feeling the smoothness of stone worn by generations of fingers just like yours. You think of all the lives that have passed here, all the mornings that have looked like this one. The thought isn't sad. the soothing, like knowing that you've stepped into a rhythm much larger than yourself. A vendor nearby calls to you, offering grapes, their skins almost black in the sunlight. You take one small cluster, pay a coin, and thank him. The grapes are cool against your palm. You bite into one and taste sweetness and dust, sunlight and river. The flavor of the whole day distilled into a single drop. As you eat, you keep walking, letting the market surround you. Everywhere, motion, hands trading coins, cloth brushing against cloth, water poured, bread broken. Everywhere, life. The noise folds over you, not harsh but steady, like the sea. You realize you've stopped trying to understand the words. You listen instead to the tone, the warmth, the laughter, the rhythm of breath between sentences. It's a language older than Latin, older than the city itself. The language of being alive together. You wander until the light begins to slant again, until the edge of afternoon presses against your back. You stop at a corner where the shadow of an olive tree cuts across the street. The air beneath it is cool, scented faintly with resin and fruit. You sit on the low wall beside it, resting your elbows on your knees. From here, you can see the rooftops rising and falling like waves, the faint shimmer of the Tiber beyond. A breeze drifts through the alley, stirring the dust, carries a sound you can't quite name, something between laughter and prayer. You close your eyes and let it pass through you. You are full of the day now, full of light, of noise, of scent, of stillness. Every sense humming, every thought unhurried. Rome has taught you its secret, that time is not something to be spent or lost, but something to be lived through, breathed, shared, repeated. That every morning is the same, yet none are identical. That to exist here is to be part of a circle that never ends. You rise again, brush the dust from your hands. The stone is warm under your fingers, sun-soaked and solid. You look around once more, the faces, the movement, the shimmering air, and you understand that you could walk through this same day forever and never grow tired. Because it is not the city that repeats. It is life itself. The fountain hums in the distance. The smell of bread returns on the wind. A child's voice rises, calling to a friend, to no one, to the world. And you, smiling faintly, answer in silence. The circle continues, morning into noon, noon into dusk, dusk into dream. Rome breathes patient and unending. And so do you. Tell me, in your own world, what hour has it become? Do you feel the same light warming your hands? Or the quiet of another evening beginning to fall? The air has begun to change again, carries the sound of footsteps, slower now, measured. The heat of the day has drained from the walls, leaving behind the faint scent of clay, oil, and smoke. The light tilts, long and amber, catching on the curve of every jar, every hand, every face. The fountain still murmurs, steady and faithful. Its water, lit by the lowering sun, gleams like bronze. Children, dusty from play, toss pebbles into it and watch the ripples widen until they disappear into the glow. Their laughter is quieter now, no longer wild, but content, like a song nearing its final note. You stand at your window again, elbows resting on the sill. The air brushes against your skin, carrying with it a taste of salt and bread and something faintly sweet. Wine, perhaps, or figs left too long in the sun. The street below hums softly, full of small movements. A door closing, a broom sweeping, the clink of pottery as someone sets the table for supper. It feels as if the whole city is breathing together. The sky above you is still blue, but heavy with gold. A single cloud hangs low, catching the last light, glowing like the belly of a slow ember. The roofs are warm, the air full of a gentle hush. You can sense that everyone in the Insula is doing the same thing, preparing for rest, for night, for another repetition of the great quiet cycle. You hear the scrape of a chair from the room next to yours. A voice hums low, wordless, soothing. The smell of lentils thickening in a clay pot drifts through the cracks in the wall. You imagine the small family inside. A woman stirring, a man pouring wine, a child half asleep, waiting for stories. The air hums with their nearness. You take a sip from your own jug, the wine thin and warm. Tastes of time, not young, not old, only certain. You tilt your head back, feeling the slow, pleasant burn at the back of your throat. Outside, the light has deepened to copper. A breeze moves through the street. It carries dust and laughter and the faintest trace of music. A flute, perhaps, or a string plucked by idle hands. The melody drifts between buildings, climbs the walls, curls into windows. You recognize it, though you've never heard it before. It's not a song so much as a feeling, the sound of day surrendering to night. You step outside. The alley is warm but dim, the light pooling around doorways where lamps have already been lit. Each flame moves differently, some sharp, some soft, each its own heartbeat. A woman stands in her doorway, shaking crumbs from a cloth. A cat watches her from the shadows, tail flicking. Someone above you laughs, the sound falling through the air like petals. You walk toward the square. The cobblestones glow faintly with the memory of sun. Everywhere you look, the city is softening. The edges of sound, the colors of the walls, even the faces of those you pass. No one hurries now. Even the vendors, those tireless keepers of noise, move with quiet hands, folding away the day one gesture at a time. The square itself glows with lamplight. A few stalls remain open, fruit, wine, bread. The rest are already covered, the day's work tucked under linen. In the center, a group of men sit around a jug of wine, their conversation low and steady. Their laughter rolls through the square like slow thunder, never loud enough to break the calm. You recognize one of them, the man from the fountain who sang the night before. He catches your eye and nods, an invitation. You join them. The bench is rough, the air warm, the wine sweeter than it looks. Someone passes a bowl of olives. You take one, press the salt to your lips. The oil shines on your fingertips, catching the lamplight. The talk is simple, the weather, the harvest, a rumor from the harbor about ships delayed by wind. No one argues. The words move easily, slow and deliberate. There's no rush to reach meaning. The meaning is the moment itself. After a while, the man with the flute raises it again. The tune he plays is slower now, softer than before, its rhythm shaped by the air. The sound weaves between the lamps, mingling with the scent of smoke and wine. Someone hums along. Someone else laughs quietly, not at anything in particular. You sit in silence, listening. The city around you glows like an ember. Not burning, but alive, steady, warm. The air is full of little things. The rustle of linen, the clink of pottery, the murmur of water and flame. A child chases a moth near one of the lamps, her laughter cutting through the quiet like a silver bell. The moth escapes, the child claps, the laughter fades. Even joy here knows when to rest. You look up. The first stars are out, faint, scattered, trembling. The sky is a pale violet at the edges, deepening toward the center. The moon, thin as a coin, slides slowly into view above the rooftops. Its light folds into the lamps, turning gold into silver. Someone offers you another drink. You shake your head and smile. The warmth of what you've already had is enough. The world feels wide and close at once. The conversation drifts toward silence. One by one, the men stand, stretch, and go. Each offers a small word, a nod, a touch to the shoulder. Each disappears into shadow. You remain for a moment longer. The square is empty now except for you and the fountain. Its voice fills the quiet, soft, endless, kind. The moonlight catches the water as it falls, each drop a perfect moment repeating itself forever. You stand and turn toward home. The lamps flicker as you pass, their light brushing your face, your hands, the walls. Every doorway you pass hums with the quiet life inside it. Whispers, laughter, the small rustle of people settling for the night. When you reach your own door, you pause, looking once more at the street. The city feels lighter now, as if it has exhaled something it was holding all day. Even the air seems relieved. You climb the stairs, the wood warm beneath your feet. Your room greets you with its familiar shadows. You light the lamp again, its small flame blooming like memory. The air inside smells faintly of wine and dust and sleep. You sit on the edge of the bed, listening to the fountain through the wall. Its voice is constant, tender, infinite. You lie down. The straw rustles softly beneath you. The lamplight flickers, brushing the ceiling in small golden waves. The city outside hums in its sleep. You close your eyes. Tomorrow will come. The water will flow. The bread will rise. The voices will return. You will wake again to the same rhythm, different but the same. The lamp trembles once. You reach out and steady it. Then slowly you let it fade. Darkness folds around you like a warm cloak. The fountain whispers. The air sighs. The world rests. It's not the end, only another turn in the circle. And you finally belong to it. The air in your room is still. The last of the lamplight has melted into shadow, and the only glow that remains is the soft silver that slips through the window, the reflection of the moon upon the fountain below. You lie still, eyes half open, watching that faint shimmer move across the wall. It trembles like a thought not yet spoken. Outside, the voices have gone quiet. The merchants are gone, the laughter faded, the dogs asleep. Only the water remains, that slow, eternal rhythm of falling, catching, falling again. You breathe with it. The sound becomes your breath. The rhythm becomes your heartbeat. Somewhere above, a shutter taps gently against the wall. 1, 2, pause, and then silence again. The air smells faintly of ash and crushed rosemary. You imagine it drifting through the whole city, through every open window, settling on every bed. A quiet blessing for the ones who work and the ones who dream. You shift slightly, and the straw beneath you sighs. Sounds almost like the sea, that far, slow whisper of something too big to see all at once. Rome is sleeping now. The streets have folded into shadow. The squares are empty except for cats and echoes, and the river glides unseen under its bridges, carrying the reflections of lamps toward the unseen horizon. You close your eyes. Behind them, the world glows, not bright, but deep, like the last ember at the bottom of a fire. You can still feel the warmth of the day in your chest, the rhythm of footsteps, the taste of bread and figs, the echo of laughter somewhere far behind you. The sound of the fountain fades, not gone, but absorbed into something larger. The hum of air, the slow turn of the world, the breath of your own sleep. You dream you are walking again. The streets are empty, but not lonely. Each window holds a flicker of light. Each doorway hums with life unseen. You walk past the fountain. The water glows brighter now, as if it knows you are dreaming it. The lion carved in stone opens its mouth wider, but not to roar, to speak. The sound it makes is not a voice, but a memory of one. Tells you that everything repeats, that the day you lived will live again, and again, and again, each time slightly different, each time the same. You listen. The words are made of water and wind. They dissolve as they reach your ears, turning into the whisper of your own breathing. You walk on. The air grows brighter with every step, and you realize you're not walking through streets anymore. You're walking through time itself. The city stretches around you like a great tapestry, its threads made of sound and scent and light. Voices rise from beneath your feet. The potter's laugh, the baker's song, the distant splash of a coin in water. You reach a doorway. There is no handle, only light spilling through the cracks. When you push it open, you find not another room, but the sky, a sky of pale gold, dawn-colored, endless. The fountain's voice is still behind you, promise more than a sound. You step forward, and the air tastes like morning again, fresh bread, wet stone, and something you cannot name. You are both waking and sleeping, both now and then. You open your eyes. The window is bright again. The first birds sing. The water below sparkles in full light. The city is alive. The day has begun again. And yet, you are still lying in the same small room. The lamp cold beside you, your breath slow, your heartbeat steady. Rome hums through the walls, not as noise, but as presence. You feel it in the air, in your chest, in the space between thoughts. The fountain sighs, the world exhales. You smile. It doesn't matter what time it is now. It never really did. The day, the night, the city, the breath, all one endless circle, spinning quietly, patiently, forever. You let go. The air folds around you, soft as linen, warm as memory, and then, at last, there is only silence. Not empty, but full, complete, kind. The fountain whispers once more, as if to say, rest now. And you do. You don't move for a long time. The silence feels infinite, yet it has texture. Soft, warm, the quiet that follows completion rather than absence. You breathe it in. It tastes faintly of dust and cool air, of clay and oil, of the night that has already slipped away. Somewhere outside, a pigeon beats its wings, that hollow rush of feathers that sounds like the air itself waking. Then another. Then the first sound of the city returning, still small, still delicate, but unmistakably alive. Your eyes open slowly. Light seeps through the window, pale at first, then golden. The world has come back. Not suddenly, but like a tide creeping up the shore. You feel its weight, its promise. The fountain below sighs as it always has. The water moves, glinting faintly in the dawn. It looks the same as yesterday and the day before and perhaps as it did centuries ago. That is the comfort of water. It changes while pretending not to. You sit up. The blanket slides to your lap. It's cool now, smelling faintly of smoke and sleep. The room glows in the weak gold of the morning. You look around. The same jug, the same lamp, the same wall that hums quietly in the sun. And yet something is different. You are different. You stand and walk to the window. The air rushes in bright, alive. The sound of the street is low, still half asleep. A broom against stone, a soft greeting, the creak of a cart axle. You rest your hands on the sill, feeling the faint chill of the stone. Below, a woman opens her shop shutters. The baker's boy runs by again, carrying bread wrapped in linen. He laughs, the sound pure, unbothered by time. You smile. For a moment, you could believe that everything you dreamed, the night, the fountain, the moonlight, the whisper of water, has folded itself into this new morning. You know, somehow, that it will always be there, behind the noise of the world, breathing quietly. You think of the people who shared this city with you. The unseen neighbors, the potter, the old soldier with his invisible bird, the woman who sang, the men who played music in the square. You can still hear them, faintly, in the rhythm of the city itself. They are gone but not gone. They are part of the air now, the light, the sound of the fountain. The thought fills you with a calm so deep it almost hurts. You take one slow breath. It smells of bread and dust and promise. Somewhere, a bell tolls, a single measured note. It rolls through the streets, touches every corner, every wall, every open window. It feels like a reminder. The day is beginning again. You whisper barely louder than breath, yes. And when you say it, you understand what it means. Not yes to work or time or duty, but yes to life itself. To the rhythm that keeps returning, even when you sleep. To the hum of the city and the sound of your own heart echoing inside it. You close your eyes again, one last time, letting the sunlight press gently against your face. The world behind your eyelids is the same gold as the world outside. There is no distance now, not between night and day, not between Rome and you, not between breath and silence. The fountain sings once more, soft and eternal. The sound of it fills you completely, like a second heartbeat. You breathe, you smile, and you let it all go. The light, the air, the sound, the story, until only the rhythm remains. Water, stone, breath, fountain, sky, heart, all one. You exhale, and the city, far below, exhales with you.